Hi, everybody. I'm Gus Johnson along with my quarterback. And, man, is it good to be back in OH. That's right, Ohio State. Ready to get busy. And this team comes into the season, into this year loaded. They reinvested in their veterans. They added some pieces. And as everybody is saying, for the Bucks this year, it's either national championship or bust, but there's only one team that can handle that kind of pressure, and that's these guys.
Man, I tell you, every year it seems like the bar gets ratcheted up for Ohio State, and after last year Michigan winning the national title, that's certainly the standard here. Falls on two guys, the head coach Ryan Day and the quarterback, and they've got a new one. All right, folks, here we go. Will Howard time. Transfers from Kansas State, but the benefit for Will Howard, Gus, he doesn't have to be Superman in this offense because he's got absolute stars around him, led by maybe the youngest one, Jeremiah Smith, who is the brightest young player in college football. He is tremendous. Can't wait to watch him today. However, it is not just throwing the ball like it has been the last couple of years here for the Buckeyes. These running backs, which Mark just sat down with, they are tremendous. Travion Henderson and now Quinshon Judkins, the all-SEC back from Ole Miss. It gives this offense the ability to be dynamic in the run game under Chip Kelly, and they're going to need that as the season moves on. Now today they face a Marshall team, and Marshall is coached by Charles Huff. Charles Huff in his fourth season at Marshall, 23-18 overall. He's been to bowl games in every one of his seasons as a head coach, and he told his team, listen, we're playing a very good team. They happen to be wearing silver helmets. All we got to do is go out there, play hard, and don't beat Marshall. If they can do that, maybe today they can shock the world.
All right, time now to join the third member of our team on the sideline. You know who she is. Let's go downstairs to the All-American girl, Jenny Tack.
We have a good defense. Those were the blunt and confident 5 words Ryan Day used to describe his defense when we sat down with him yesterday. Short, sweet, and to the point, and so far they've lived up to it. Through 2 games, they've only allowed 6 points and 276 yards. And for years, guys, we know it, this defense, there were always question marks surrounding this group. If they were the weak link of this team, and it feels like they have finally arrived. I had a chance to catch up with veteran leader JT Tuimoloau. He told me that he was drawn to come back for something bigger. You guys mentioned it. It's championship bust or else around here. That's the mindset with the Buckeyes. He told me this defense is playing with freedom, with confidence. There's still so much to prove, and Gus, this is just the beginning for this Buckeyes D.
All right, Jenny, thank you very much. The weather for the beginning of this game is hot, folks. It's muggy, feels like soup out there. 83 degrees, humid at kickoff time in a series that dates back to 2004. Ohio State has won both meetings, most recently 45-7 here in Columbus. In that meeting, Terrell Pryor threw for 3 touchdowns and ran for 2. Ohio State wins the toss to first. Marshall will receive, and here we go. From Columbus into the end zone for a touchback, and that brings on Stone Earle, the senior quarterback from Keller, Texas, a North Texas and Abilene Christian transfer.
This is an offense that is an air raid offense. Seth Doege is the offensive coordinator, of course, cut his teeth under that Mike Leach tree. They had some things available last week in a loss, 31-17 to Virginia Tech. But this is a team, or excuse me, 31-14 to Virginia Tech. They've got to capitalize on those opportunities down the field.
All right, first down and 10. For Marshall, A.J. Turner in the backfield. Earle looking underneath and incomplete on his first pass of the day intended for Braylon Brown. Let's take a look at the Thundering Herd offensively.
4 new starters on the offensive line. Both guards, both tackles. They're Rock, Logan Osborne in the middle. On the outside, Christian Fitzpatrick. This is a good-looking player, folks. He had one of the best catches of the year in their last game against Virginia Tech. He's 6'4", 217 pounds. They need to get him the ball early in this game.
Michigan State and Louisville transfer. 2nd and 10 at the 25. A.J. Turner in the backfield. Earle underneath, and he hits his receiver. Nicely done. Elijah Metcalf has a lot of talent. This Middle Tennessee State transfer. Gain of 7. Let's look at the Buckeyes on D.
Yeah, I agree with Ginny and Ryan Day. This is one of the best defenses in college football. I think that they're really great up front, and then the secondary probably also the best in America, led by transfer from Alabama, Caleb Downs. This guy Gus, I'm telling you, he is a treat to watch. Watch number 2 as he roams this field. He is fast, flies around, and he is a hitter.
3rd down and 3 at the 32. Opening series for Marshall. Earl in trouble, bounces out of the pocket across his body, finds his receiver, and a first down. A 5-yard gain. Metcalf with the touch.
Nice job by Earl as he leaves the pocket right here. He's going to leave the pocket, and then that leaves just a little bit of an open area right there on the field, and they're able to exploit it. They get that conversion. That is a good first down for Marshall here on their opening series.
2 touchdowns already this season, both in the opener against Stony Brook for Elijah Metcalf. And they'll hand it off now. Turner running right, cuts it up, and he'll pick up a few. 5 yards on the play. Marshall, in their last game, they lost to Virginia Tech 2 weeks back in Blacksburg, 31-14.
They just kind of ran out of steam in that game, and they had some things there offensively. Again, I think that their best player, and Charles Huff knows this, is Fitzpatrick on the outside. They haven't targeted him yet, but they're going to here early.
2nd down and 7 at the 40-yard line. Stone Earl. Young man, as Jenny will tell you later, got engaged and is looking forward to his wedding in the spring. But right now, he's got the Buckeyes in front of him. Earl swings it out. Nicely done. Ball caught. Turner squares up. Crosses the 40. Leans down. Stopped on the play by Caleb Downs.
This is what I'm talking about with Downs. Watch how quickly he closes. Here he is from his safety position, and he's just going to fill the alley, and he does it as well as anybody. In fact, when I'm talking with their coaches, they say he fills downhill as fast as anybody that they've had. 2 is just a great player.
Really had a chance to spend some time with him yesterday at the Ohio State facility in the lunchroom. We'll tell you about it as this game progresses. 3rd and 4 at the 43. Over the middle, and a strike thrown complete at the 40-yard line. A.J. Turner, Braylon Brown this time with the reception, a gain of 16.
He does a great job of just continuing to work, and then he's going to exploit the middle. Watch Downs come down, number 2. That leaves the space behind him. That's a beautiful throw. And what Marshall is doing here early that they did not do against the Hokies a couple of weeks ago, catch the ball. They had far too many drops. They're catching it nicely today.
First down at the Ohio State 41. Opening series for Marshall. Moving the ball. Earl over the middle, throws another strike. Another first down. This Marshall team not afraid, undaunted. This time it's Christian Fitzpatrick, a gain of 12.
Now it should be noted, Tyleik Williams, the defensive tackle for Ohio State, not starting in this game. He's probably their best defensive tackle. Hiru Kanu is going to be playing number 93. That's going to hurt their pass rush a little bit, but we have not seen a great pass rush early here from the Buckeyes.
First down and 10 at the 29. Kanu has only been playing football for 5 years. He's 20 years old, picked up the game on a fluke growing up in Munich, Germany. First and 10 at the 29. Here's another handoff. Houston this time with all kinds of running room. Fights through contact. Gets even further into Ohio State territory. And look at the thundering herd. That's a gain of 14 yards.
Yeah, beautiful run right there. And this offensive line opening up a nice hole. And again, with Williams out, Tyleik Williams out, they're exploiting the middle of that defense. And now the Buckeyes hands on hips, a little tired. This defense not looking very good here early.
First play allowed inside the red zone this season for Ohio State. First down at the 15. Marshall keeping it on the ground. Jordan Houston with the run. Jack Sawyer was off to a fine season. Honorable mention, all Big Ten last year with the tackle.
Sawyer, he has been playing fast, and I have enjoyed watching tape of him over these opening 2 weeks. I will say, though, this Marshall team is absolutely the best team that Ohio State has faced so far, and this is going to be a test for this defense.
2nd and 8 at the 13. Can the Thundering Herd pay it off? On the current drive, 9 plays, close to 5 minutes. Here's a quarterback run, a lot of room. First down, and a fumble. Did it get out of bounds is the question. Marshall needs a break. Do they get it? And yes, the Thundering Herd will hold on to the football.
Well, here's Earl, and that ball is in the inside arm, and then it gets knocked loose right there. That was Lathan Ransom who knocked it out, and he just couldn't corral it, and they didn't secure that ball before they go out of bounds. Not only do they not recover it, it is a first down for Marshall.
So first down and goal at the 4-yard line.
The previous play is on the further review.
So they'll take a look at it. In the meantime, we'll step away. 9:50 to play in the first. Thundering Herd moving and grooving against Ryan Day's defense. Thundering Herd knocking on the door inside the Ohio State 5, but will they retain possession is the big question, partner.
Well, they reviewed this during the break, and they were trying to see apparently whether Ohio State recovered that before going out of bounds, but no one controlled the ball. I mean, the ball is still loose. It's clearly out of bounds right there. We'll see what.
Better look here.
Yeah, this is a terrific look, Gus, as you said. See, no control, ball is out of bounds. We have not gotten an official announcement here live in the stadium yet.
Brian Banks, your referee today.
There's zero reason why this should be taking this long. This is as clear cut as can possibly be. That ball was fumbled clearly and not controlled before going out of bounds. I have no idea why this is taking so long.
Dean Blandino, our rules analyst, joins us. Dino, are your thoughts on this play? Hold on.
I'm with Joel.
Dean.
I'm waiting for this announcement.
After review, the ruling on the field of a fumble out of bounds is confirmed. It's first down, Marshall.
Okay, Dean, we'll join you a little later on. Didn't need you for that one. Obvious to a duck. 11th play of the drive coming up. The drive started at Marshall's 25-yard line.
There was some communication there during that stoppage, Gus, and we could see it on the field that they were going to try to give the ball to Ohio State, which was crazy and wild. And so that's why the defense is a little late coming on the field, because Ohio State had actually huddled their offense there on the sideline to get ready. And I got to tell you, I was about to go ballistic.
It's irritating to you. I see that.
I know.
I'm sure to that man as well, Coach
Can
Huff.
you imagine?
So first down and goal at the 4-yard line. Can the Thundering Herd pay it off? Ethan Payne is the pistol back. Behind Stone Earl.
We've got numbers in the run game here on the right side. They're right here.
And they will let Earl keep it. Cuts inside, trying to pull his way to the end zone. And he'll get all the way down inside the 1, a 3-yard gain. And that brings up second down.
Ohio State has not given up a touchdown so far this season. Marshall, opening series of the game, they have driven it right down. Really impressive series from Stone Earl, their quarterback. He's made a couple of really nice passes, including a good run on this series. We'll see if this Marshall team can actually capitalize here inside the 5.
Second down and goal at the 1. They'll hand it straight ahead, and they will not get there with Payne. So that brings up third down and goal.
I just don't think that field goals are going to help you here. If you're Charles Huff, I think you're telling Seth Dickey, your offensive coordinator, you got 2 downs here. So I don't think a run play is out of the question. Their best set is when they spread it out and they get Ohio State to also spread out, and then they can get Stone Earl in that zone read. Side saddle with the running back, which means he's right next to him. If they try to go big, that plays into the hands of Ohio State. Don't love this formation right now.
Third down and goal at the 1. Earl with the handoff, the dive, Payne, and it looks like a touchdown for the Thundering Herd. Ethan Payne gives Marshall a 6-0 lead against Ohio State.
What a great job right here of getting north and south. That means upfield, straight upfield, and then he leaves his feet right here. He sees the opening, and he takes off right down the hash mark, and he's able to get that ball just over the goal line. Payne with that ball in his left arm. Yes, it's certainly touching the white. Marshall touchdown. What a series for the Thundering Herd.
13-play drive covering 75 yards. They eat up close to 7 minutes, 6:46, as Ethan Payne dives in the end zone like our colleague Spencer Tillman used to do when he was at Oklahoma.
Right up and over.
That's right. How about this? Marshall on top of the Bucks, 7-0. National championship or bust. All right, we will see.
Coach Prime and Shedeur Sanders lead Colorado.
Holy mackerel!
Against Baylor. Woo! Tonight at 8 Eastern on Fox.
Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect the stuff you love with Renters Insurance. And by AT&T Business. Reliability for your business is our business. Time for today's Game Flow, sponsored by Progressive. What a beautiful day here in Columbus. One of the great venues in all of college football, the Horseshoe. But right now, Marshall with the lead. The second Ethan Payne touchdown of the season, 7th in his Marshall career. Their quarterback, Stone Earl, missed his first throw, then went 5 for 5. Marshall had 4 plays of 10 or more yards on that 13-play drive. You've got to think about it. This is the 3rd game between these two teams, the first time Marshall has ever led.
They got to feel great on that opposite sideline, because that was not a fluky, like, oh, we caught him with a trick play and scored a touchdown. I mean, 13 plays against that defense is very difficult. And the thing that I thought was most encouraging for Charles Huff, their head coach, was the play of the quarterback, Stone Earl. Because, Gus, there was a couple of times he had to elude and then find a completion down the field, and he did so.
Coach Huff in the 4th year of a 4-year contract. Started off really well last season with 4-0, but then some things happened and they ended up sliding to end the season. That ball kicked out of the end zone for a touchback, but a flag on the play. As Will Howard prepares to come onto the pitch, Kansas State transfer. This young man at Kansas State did a little bit of everything. He is a winner and knows how to play, and the perfect fit, they feel, for Ohio State.
Yeah, this is a guy that told us this is a breath of fresh air to be here.
Offside. Kicking team, number 17. The 5-yard penalty added to the sitting spot. It's first down, Ohio State.
You know, Kansas State chose Avery Johnson. You can see why. He's playing terrific for the Wildcats, and Will Howard has found a home here at Ohio State. And boy, does he have talent around him to throw and hand to, Gus. My goodness.
And does he have talent himself? Yes, he does. First down and 10 at the 30. And they'll hand it off on first down. Travion Henderson, their big play running back. As Raekwon Thompson makes the stop, let's take a look at the Bucks on offense.
Yeah, this is the first time that they are going to have their full complement of offensive line. What they intended to start with Donovan Jackson back, the All-American at left guard. Then on the outside, Judkins Henderson at running back. Jeremiah Smith, folks, number 4. Cannot wait to watch him play. He is as good of a young player as I've seen in a long time.
Second down and 8 at the 32. You may see him right here. Play fake. They dump it down in space. And here we go. Abuka with a lane. Emeka Abuka down the sideline with a blocker. Touchdown Ohio State, but there is a flag on the play. If it stands, 68 yards.
There is no foul on the play for blocking downfield. The result of the play is a touchdown.
Touchdown Ohio State. Emeka Abuka goes 68 yards for the score.
Well, the officials are the ones struggling the most here early, and maybe both defenses. This is just a nice outside screen, and look at the speed from Abuka. This guy gets kind of lost in the shuffle, right? I mean, Gus, he comes back. He's one of the best players in the country. Last year, he dealt with those injuries, and he wanted to leave an impact like his predecessors have left here at the wide receiver position, in particular late in their career. And Emeka Abuka has immense talent. This guy is a 1,500-yard receiver any day of the week, and you see it right there on his first touchdown of the year.
Five-star recruit, was the nation's #1 receiver in the state of Washington, where he was a state Gatorade Player of the Year as a junior. Big-time touchdown there. Ohio State didn't take them long. 2 plays, 70 yards. They score in 42 seconds. Will the Thrill pitching it early. Back to Columbus. Today's Fox Super 6 free-to-play game. Download the Fox Sports app right now and enter for free for a chance to win your share of 5,000 big ones in weekly cash prizes. Emeka Egbuka, 68-yard touchdown run, went over 2,000 career receiving yards last time out against Western Michigan. The 11th Buckeye to achieve that mark when he had 5 catches for 98 yards. It's Broncos. So 7-7. Marshall and Ohio State. Thundering Herd will get it again. Jaden Fielding sending it away. Jordan Houston is the deep man. Into the end zone for a touchback. So Marshall, they come into this game out of the Sun Belt Conference preseason. They were picked to finish 5th in the Eastern Division. 2 top teams coming into the year, Joel, in the Sun Belt, Appalachian State and Texas State. Appalachian State, though, got some problems.
Yeah, I'll tell you, they got absolutely housed by Clemson. Lost just the other night. And not quite the same App State team that we've seen in past years. And this Marshall team looking to get themselves right. I like this Marshall team on tape, and they proved it on that first series.
Earl will run it with a lane. Gets to the 30, 35. First down, out of bounds. Flag on the play. These officials are really slow today.
Yeah, super deliberate. Let's go.
Holding. Offense, number 65. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. It's still first down. Offensive player number 55's helmet came off during the play. He must be out for 1 play.
All right, Logan Osborne, the center for Marshall.
And he's the whole key to their offensive line right in the middle. He's their veteran in there. He is a guy that walked on to Marshall early in his career, earned a scholarship. There you see those arms kind of go around. I thought they were going to get Ohio State with the hands to the face because you saw Bryce Ramsey, 55, the left guard. His helmet came off. Normally, when you see an offensive lineman's helmet on the ground, it's because there was a hands to the face.
So a first down and 20. Stone Earl to the sideline. That one incomplete. And that'll bring up 3rd and long, intended for Justin Holmes. Make it 2nd and long, intended for Justin Holmes. Let's go downstairs to Jen.
Gus, as you can imagine, the Marshall sidelines were ecstatic after that score, having to be held back as if they won this one. It was a great start for their offense, and that comes from the confidence we're seeing from Stone Earl. He told me, look, we can't try to be Superman out there. We have to play confident, not try to do too much. We all have a chip. Many of us were at different schools before. We will not give up easily today.
Earl wants to run it this time, nothing doing. As he crashes into the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard on the plate. Jason Moore, JT Tuimoloau combining on the tackle.
Yeah, they've now gone to that 3 or 4 times now, that little quarterback draw, try to do it on long yardage and catch Ohio State with a soft middle of their defense, but that defensive line just collapsed around Stone Earl.
Well, that makes it 3rd down and 19 at the 16-yard line. Stone Earl in the shotgun. 2 starts at North Texas last year for Earl. 5 on the play clock. Earl pulls it down, wants to run, turns the corner. That'll go out of bounds as he crosses the 20-yard line. So Marshall will be forced to punt it away after the 6-yard gain.
Just nowhere to go with that ball. Earl has to take it and run over that left side, and Ohio State had all their pass rushers in, but they weren't necessarily getting home. Just better coverage on the outside. And it should be said, IGB, they call Igmanosin, IGB, Davison, Igmanosin, and Denzel Burke, the 2 corners. These guys are excellent players, high-level round draft picks. You're talking about NFL potential.
Brandon Ennis, the sophomore, back deep. This one dribbled by Alec Clark, and it'll be downed out of bounds inside the 25, a 54-yard punt. Nicely done. So coming up, Will Howard and this explosive, electric Ohio State offense back on the field. Iowa State beat Iowa, but Notre Dame, wow, shocking loss to Northern Illinois in South Bend. Coach Huff would love nothing more than to add his team's name to that list. Ryan Day, 41-0 versus unranked AP opponents. What a job this man has done as a head coach of the world famous. I mean, yes, he's lost those 3 straight games to Michigan, but what a coach. Lucky to have him in Columbus. 1st and 10 at the 24. Travion Henderson in the backfield. Howard throws it out wide. Tate turns it up and gets across the 30. We're being ushered out of play in game 7.
I think the fascinating part this year, though, is the transformation that Coach Day is taking on. Relinquishing play-calling duties, bringing in his old friend and mentor, Chip Kelly, to be the offensive coordinator.
Howard, sideline, another completion. This time, Jeremiah Smith, the talented freshman from Miami.
And now this offense is going to look and feel just a little bit different, not just because of the personnel, but also the fingerprint of the play caller, Chip Kelly. Chip's going to want to run the football more and in more creative ways, and we're going to see that manifest over the course of the season.
1st and 10 at the 37. Henderson remains in the game. Over the middle, and another strike thrown by Howard. Over the middle, Carnell Tate, the sophomore from Chicago.
The problem for the defense is that now these linebackers, they've got to make a decision. Do you come up to stop the run? Well, okay, then they'll just throw it behind them. So that right there is a true run-pass option, Gus, where Howard is reading that linebacker and the safety, and then he takes off the fake and throws it down the field.
Howard again, this time the deep ball down the sideline, and it's intercepted by Marshall. What a play. The Thundering Herd will take it. Josh Moten, the junior.
The ruling on the field is an interception by the defense. It's 1st down Marshall. Number 89 of the offense's helmet came off. He must sit out for 1 play.
I don't think Jeremiah Smith thought he was getting the ball because the urgency in the first half of his route was not there, and he got walled off. That means that the corner pushes him all the way to the sideline. When the wide receiver is running right next to the sideline, the window to throw the ball for the quarterback is extremely small, and you see Will Howard not get it up and over the top of the cornerback, and it allows Moten to make a play on that pass and get the interception. Poor route by the young wide receiver, an underthrow by the quarterback Howard, and Moten was in perfect position, the transfer from Texas A&M.
So with under 5 to go in the first, Marshall records the first turnover of the game. They'll start 1st down from their own 9. Jordan Houston in the backfield with Stone Earl. Houston straight up the gut. Will push the pile forward, crossing the 10. Up to around the 12, a 2-yard gain.
I think that one of the biggest questions for me surrounding this Ohio State team is Will Howard. And after that interception, I'll just tell you, when I watch the tape, I think Will does a lot of really good things. But when he does miss, it's generally short or behind the receiver. And I think that's a product, Gus, of where he was and where he is in terms of the speed of the players that he's throwing to on the outside.
A lot of weapons. 2nd and 7 at the 12. Earl. Back shoulder throw. Looks like a catch. Wow. Christian Fitzpatrick. And folks, this man, Christian Fitzpatrick, has come up with some catches this year. Watch this one. He mossed the defender again.
My goodness. I mean, they're fully in a hand fight there. Igmanosin is all over him, and Fitzpatrick just muscles it away. It bounces off of his face. It was like a little ricochet back into Fitzpatrick. I mean, that's a great catch. It's still not quite the one that he had against Virginia Tech, but my goodness, this guy, he's got great talent on the outside.
And size, 6'4", 217, 15-yard gain. 1st down and 10 at the 27. Earl powers forward. Another 1st down. Let's go back to the Virginia Tech game a couple of weeks ago. Watch this.
Well, how about, I mean, come on, man. That's just, not possible.
That's called getting Moss.
That's
folks.
right.
Randy Moss.
And good for him, by the way. Randy touched on it the next morning on his broadcast. Showed Fitzpatrick, which obviously the symbiotic there with that uniform.
2nd down and 1. Stone Earl bouncing in the pocket. Completes the pass, but not enough for 1st down. Toby Payne chopped down by Lathan Ransom. A loss of 1.
Well, because of all the snaps that we've seen already from Marshall's offense for that long first drive, we're seeing the 2nd-team defensive line out there for Ohio State and Ryan Day right now, trying to give those starters a little bit of a breath on a hot day here towards the end of the first quarter.
3rd down and 2 at the 35. Can the Thundering Herd move the chains? Jordan Houston, the single setback with quarterback Stone Earl.
I'm telling you, the run on the left side is there.
And they'll run it on the right side, and it's there as well. A 1st down for Marshall. Ty Hamilton with the tackle.
So they're just going to go with a straight quarterback lead right here. But you see what I'm talking about on this opposite side. There's just not a lot of guys over there on that left side that can block everybody. Good job by the offensive line. There's an offensive line that they didn't know what they were going to get. 3 transfers, a new starter, and they're playing well so far.
Elijah Ellis, their left tackle, transferring from Baylor. Bryce Ramsey, their left guard, transferring from Southern Miss. 1st and 10 at the 39. Quick strike, near side. Caught and out of bounds goes Braylon Brown. Tell you what, Joel, this offense is very confident as they take on what some consider maybe the best defense in all of college football.
Yeah, they're not having any problems right now. And what's an issue so far for Ohio State has been Stone Earl and the quarterback run. You know, they're getting in this spread set. They're spreading the defense out. Ohio State likes to play with the 3 safeties on the field. That's their base defense. But when they're spread out like that, like currently right now, Gus, there's only 5 guys in the run box. You can block all those guys and run the football.
And they run it with A.J. Turner. Marshall has run 24 plays to just 6 for Ohio State. Gains 4 there, 105 to go in the first.
Here's what I'm talking about. You draw a line right here and right here. You only got 5 players for Ohio State. Between those lines, you got 5 offensive linemen. So you think you can block everybody. And what the defense is banking on is that their players are going to get off blocks and win their one-on-ones in order to make that stop.
59 rushing yards for Marshall. They're 4 or 5 on 3rd down conversions. They need 3 here on 3rd down. Could be the last play of the quarter. Stone Earl looking, goes through his progression. Underneath, has his receiver. And let's see the spot. This time it's A.J. No, make that Elijah Metcalf with the reception.
Gave him that first, needed the 49. He was just across that line when he caught that ball. And Marshall again, Gus, on the move.
1st down Marshall as we end the first quarter. A surprise, surprise, surprise. 7 up. Thundering Herd and Buckeyes level. Quarter, they moved the ball back a little bit after taking a look at it, folks. So it's 4th down now for Marshall and 1. Game tied at 7 as we start the second quarter. Marshall, a 40-point underdog. 4th down and 1. A.J. Turner in the backfield with Stone Earl. Thundering Herd, 4 of 6 on 3rd down conversions in this game to start. Veterans on that offensive line, as we mentioned. Logan Osborne, their center. He has 36 of the line's 47 career starts. 4th down and 1. Let's see if they go over it. Earl slips, falls down, will not get the 1st down, and Marshall turns it over on downs. Malone covering him up.
You know, even if he stays up, I'm not sure that he's going to get this. Malone is right there, and then you've got two players, Tuimoloau out, as well as the linebacker sitting there for the Buckeyes, and the Buckeyes get the stop. I'm not sure I would have gone for it there if you're Marshall. Marshall is in a great position right now. Their defense is rested. They would have had a chance to put that offense back inside the 10-yard line. I get it that they're explosive and you want to retain momentum. I understand all that, but now this offense gets the ball at the 45-yard line.
First down for Ohio State. Will Howard. He's thrown a 68-yard touchdown to Emeka Egbuka. Howard throws it into the flats. This is Quinshon Judkins. First time we've mentioned his name, the Ole Miss transfer. And Joel, this young man is a bad dude.
I tell you, man, both of these guys can take it to the house, but there's just something. As soon as number one gets the ball in space, you just kind of hold your breath because you feel like something electric is going to happen.
First down at the 34. And they'll run it. Judkins. Quinshon Judkins last week against Western Michigan, 9 carries, 188 yards rather, and 2 touchdowns. First year at Ohio State after 2 at Ole Miss, where he had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, 34 total touchdowns, and was a 2-time first-team All-SEC at Ole Miss. 2nd and 9 at the 33. He's a lone setback. Q breaks it back. Q down the sideline, on the move, dives for the pylon. And let's see, a 29-yard run.
Great move to the left. Watch here, Q goes in, here's the vision, bang, and now I'm out to the left, and you see that quick jump cut, and then he's so fast and strong that one guy doesn't generally get him down to the ground, he runs right past.
First down and goal at the 4, they'll pitch it to him now. Far side, and he's ragdolled out of bounds. Great pursuit by the Marshall defense. Harris, first man to it.
Tackled by D.B. Harris.
Very tough to run toss sweep into the short side of the field. Remember, with these wide hash marks that we have in college football, that wide style run game, pitching the ball out, you're already basically at the numbers, and there's such little space that it requires the blocking to be perfect. Never been a huge fan of that short side pitch like that, and Judkins gains no yards.
As a matter of fact, it's a 2-yard loss. 2nd down and goal at the 6.
Timeout, Marshall. That's the first of the half. This will be a full media time.
Hurd will call a timeout.
The Thundering Herd, he's been really good so far. 96 total yards, and they have held the rock. 13 minutes so far, time of possession. Ohio State, a quick strike score and an interception, but they are knocking on the door here, Gus.
2nd down and goal at the 6-yard line. Howard with Travion Henderson now next to him. Travion Henderson straight away. And pushes the pile forward. Did he get in there? Let's see. No call yet. Looks like he's down at the 1.
Here's that opposite side. Henderson pushing, and there he goes down just short of the goal line. Nice job by that far side official, but good push by both the offensive line and Henderson, keeping that pile moving.
3rd down and goal at the 1-yard line.
Oh, first time we've seen this. Here, they're both in the game. Here we go, Henderson and Judkins. Lightning and lightning. Let's rock.
T formation, old school, wing T, straight ahead. Howard, all 235 pounds of him. It'll be a touchdown, but there is a flag.
Illegal substitution, 12 men on the field at the snap. Defense, that penalty's declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
They got me all excited seeing Q and Trey on the field at the same time, Gus, right? I think there's something fancy going to happen. And what do? Tush push.
That's right.
Quarterback sneak. But why not? Howard is a big old dude, 6'4", 235 pounds, as you mentioned. And they're able to get in, and that's really their first sustained drive that they've had.
I don't know, Joel. When we sat with him yesterday, he may be taller than 6'4". He's a big dude. Extra point is good. And moments ago, our Jenny Tav caught up with Coach Huff.
Well, Coach, you told us this week your guys were not intimidated by the challenge. You'd put up a fight. You had the early score from the offense, that interception from your D. What are you liking from your guys?
Yeah, we've responded. You know, we were lined up wrong. We didn't adjust to their formation on the first play. Cost us big. We came back, responded. Offensively, we've been able to move the ball down the field. We just got to continue to play. We've got some penalties in there that are going to make it tough for us. If we can not play ourselves, we got a chance to stay in the game. And if we can do that, we'll like the result.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Go
Maybe not a good decision, Joel, to go for it on 4th and 1 in your own territory, but I understand you have to trust the analytics.
Yeah, it was. Oh,
It's all about analytics.
Trying to bait me in there. You're trying to bait me in. I think what he's thinking to himself is like, I'm going to try to give my kids the best chance to win. And if we're just going to play safe and punt, you know, the more snaps that Ohio State offense gets, the odds are going to be in their favor, right? They're just an incredibly talented team and a very good team. So the blueprint for Marshall is retain possession, keep the ball away from the Buckeyes, and I think that's why he ended up going for it on 4th down.
You know how I feel about the punt.
It's the best play in football.
Oh, best defensive play in all of football.
And in life.
That's what Dad say. Exactly in life. Punt it, kick it. That one kicked out of bounds.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team number 38. The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. It's 1st and 10, Marshall.
Jaden Fielding would like to have that one back. Friday night on Fox, it's a coast-to-coast Big Ten face-off as Washington takes on Rutgers. Friday at 8 Eastern on Fox. Good game last night, Illinois, Nebraska. I was surprised. Nebraska, they had a chance.
Man, that felt a lot like the Scott Frost Nebraska teams that just couldn't get out of their own way late in games, those one-score games. They miss a wide-open wide receiver. But I will say this, man, Brett Bielema is a hell of a football coach. And Jake Altmaier played a fantastic game on the road in a hostile environment. That was a great win for Illinois.
On 1st down, he's in at the 35. Another good completion. Metcalf making people miss at the end. This kid is dangerous, folks. This kid is a big-time talent. Still finding his way now at Marshall after transferring from Middle Tennessee.
He had 60 grabs last season, and him in the slot with Fitzpatrick, number 16, on the outside. That gives them some real juice trying to throw the football with these two guys.
2nd down and 3 at the 42. Jordan Houston in the backfield. Stone Earl wants to run it. Leads forward, trying to get to that 1st down. Ty Hamilton drags him down from behind, a 2-yard gain. Looks like he's a little short.
Here's what they're doing. You look one to the wide receiver, and if it's not there, he's running right away. Why? Because Ohio State is spreading out their defense, and there's an opportunity down the middle of the field.
3rd down and 1 for Marshall. Thundering Herd, surprisingly, have been able to move the football against this Ohio State defense. Earl sprinting out, throws on the move, incomplete. Metcalf, the intended receiver. Marshall will punt it away. Interesting play call.
Well, they're trying to get loose on man coverage and run a bit of a pick route on that side, Gus. And so you're trying to get loose by inside player going to the flat quickly. That next wide receiver is going up and basically trying to legally pick his defender in man defense, and they just weren't able to get it done.
Brandon Ennis, the deep man for Ohio State. He signals for the fair catch. Bobbled it, loose, picked up. Marshall has the football. Wow! 2nd turnover of the 1st half for the Buckeyes. This time on special teams as that punt was muffed.
Any punt that is traveling right down the shadow, you know that it's just a little bit in the sun. And Ennis looks like he's got a beat on this. He calls for a fair catch, and it's just a touch short. The wind is blowing a bit left to right, but there's a flag down late. And they're calling a legal procedure on Marshall. I didn't see that flag, partner, nor did I even hear the announcement, but this is coming back. There's the recovery. Let's go back to that line of scrimmage. They're saying that there's not enough players on the line of scrimmage for Marshall. I guess that they're saying, like, Are they saying right here, these two guys right here possibly are not on the line of scrimmage? And I believe that's what they're calling, that they're in the backfield. I never saw that flag come out. Holy cow, that is a massive call because Marshall's set up for a score to tie the game here in the second quarter.
So they'll re-kick it from the 39. And it's fair caught inside the 15. A 48-yard punt. Ohio State. These app now. Terms apply. We've got more college football coming up next on Fox as 12th-ranked Utah goes up against number 14 Oklahoma State. Then Coach Prime leads the Colorado Buffaloes against Baylor at 80th Street. It's all right here next on Fox. Colorado winning that game. Fort Collins against Colorado State last week. That was a big one for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, they needed it. They've improved on defense a bit, but it's certainly still kind of the Travis Hunter show. He's spectacular. Love watching him play this sport.
First down and 10 at the 14-yard line for the Buckeyes. Judkins in the game. Quinshon with a lead. Quinshon Judkins with a burst. Quinshon Judkins, can he get there? Down the sideline. Touchdown, Ohio State. How about this, folks? The Bucks all queued up. 86 yards.
Great job up front by this offensive line. Double team right there. And then it's all about Q. You see the burst, and this is why I was talking about his ability. As soon as there's a lane, you hold your breath. He's got the home run ability. I tell you, he had one called back in their last game. It was about the same distance. This guy at any moment can take it the distance and makes them just such a dangerous run game. My goodness.
Judkins from Montgomery, Alabama. Pike Road, a suburb. What a big-time play. What a big-time player. He came out of the SEC, Ole Miss. He said he wanted to play big-time college football. Well, welcome to the world-famous Ohio State Buckeyes. He's falling out early. Is it the best coach ever? Try and decide. Big-time touchdown by Quinshon Judkins as he goes close to 90 yards. That's a fan cam we're looking at, folks. 21-7, our score. Ohio State starting to extend their lead as Jaden Fielding prepares to kick it away. Jordan Houston, the deep man for Marshall. And he kicked it out of bounds again. Uh-oh.
Hey, man, you can't kick the ball out of bounds. What are we doing?
I remember Ohio State used to do this a few years back when they had a special teams.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team number 38. The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. It's 1st and 10, Marshall.
All right, let's go downstairs to Jenny.
So why did Quinshon Judkins want to come to Ohio State? It was pretty simple. To win a national championship. He told us yesterday he was sold after he visited, even in the cold weather, in the snow. And I got to share this part of the story. Yesterday, he pulled Gus aside and he said, where I played before, I never had a chance to have a guy like you. Gus Johnson, call my games. Gus, I have a feeling he's going to remember that call for a long time.
And Marshall running the ball on the outside. I got to tell you, folks, he had me in tears.
No, hey, listen.
I mean, I
was saying yesterday there's very few times when Gus is speechless. Yesterday was one of those when he said that to you, and
I was in tears.
Man, Q just said, listen, we don't get a chance as players to have a play called by Gus Johnson, and he wanted to come up here. It was part of why he wanted to be here at Ohio State, and then for him to have that play right after he said that, Gus, you're special.
Well, needless to say, folks, and I'm going to just be totally honest with you, Quinshon Judkins, I'm going to give him everything I got. He getting everything, Joe.
No, you know what that means.
You know, I don't know if maybe he's just a genius. He knew how to get to me, but he's gonna get it all.
Listen, I think he is a genius. His mom's a lawyer, you know.
That's right.
You know, so he knows what's going on. His mom, Tiva, father, Quincy, obviously proud. They don't miss a game, whether he was at Ole Miss or here at Ohio State. Maybe he's just smart. But now, here's what I'm not looking forward to. Now, everywhere we go, all the players are going to be pulling Gus aside, asking for nicknames. They're going to be like, Gus, all I've ever wanted is for you to call my title. Now we're going to see that every week.
You know, I have no problems doing that.
Why not?
Because they have NIL.
So you're going to charge
I'm going to charge them all. $20. I need that 20.
Oh, my.
I might not need it, but I certainly want it. Second down and 8 at the 47. And they got it.
Oh, my goodness.
Man,
that's good stuff. In all honesty, that's what makes doing this, like, the human side is what's so incredible about this job.
Stone Earl, nice throw over the middle, and incomplete. Christian Fitzpatrick, the intended receiver.
That was Downs in coverage. Closing. They were asking for a flag here. Jordan Hancock, there's Downs. Maybe Downs was a bit early. No flag on the play, and it brings up a 3rd and long. There's the wrap. Yeah, certainly got to that right arm a little early. Probably a flag could have come out there, but now it presents an opportunity for this pass rush, which let's face it, we haven't seen much from this pass rush so far today, because Earl, whether he looks at his first read and then he takes off right away, and he's not allowing that defensive line to get after him.
3rd down and 8 at the 47. Marshall wants to throw it over the middle. Great strike by Stone Earl as he finds his man. I tell you, this Elijah Metcalf can ball. He is a terrific little player.
And you get the blitz here from Ohio State. What does that do? It leaves a void behind the blitzer. So what can you do? You can just run that slant right into that area of the field. Good ball by Stone Earl. He knows that there's pressure coming down right into his lap, and he's able to give Metcalf that terrific throw.
Makes it a 1st down and 10 at the 30-yard line. A 23-yard reception for Metcalf near side. And here's Elijah again. It's interesting to look at college football now, Joel. If you're a Marshall, every game, or for all the players, every game is an audition for another team.
Well, I mean,
it could be.
It could be, yes, but I got to credit all the guys that stay or find the right fit for themselves. You know, that was the case with this Ohio State team. Yeah, they brought in a few pieces in the transfer portal, but this is largely a team that decided to come back and play for the Buckeyes. Now, Marshall at the Group of 5 level is in a little bit of a different situation. That level, there's always going to be more turnover than there is with the big schools.
Stone Earl throws it into the flats and incomplete. That bobble by Jordan Houston, just couldn't hang on.
And to be honest, Gus, like, as players, you just don't think of things like that. What you want to do is do your job for your teammates. Both of these coaches, Ryan Day and Charles Huff, have built really strong cultures. That's how Marshall has been to bowl games each of the last few years under Huff. They've got 2 Power 5 wins in the last 2 years. They beat Notre Dame a couple of years ago. They beat Virginia Tech last year. You don't do that without a solid culture, and you don't have a solid culture without guys that are bought in for each other.
3rd down and 9 at the 29. 7:43 to play in the 2nd quarter. Stone Earl dancing, in trouble, and sacked. All the way back at the 45. This time it's Caden Curry.
Watch how fast Curry wins at the line of scrimmage. I mean, this looks like a screen. He beats the guard so fast. Guard's blocking air. Curry's in the backfield sacking Stone Earl, and the Buckeyes get off the field.
Marshall punts it away, and this one into the end zone for a touchback. 21-7, 7:03 to go in the 2nd. Here's today's Aflac trivia question, sponsored by Aflac. Get health expenses health insurance doesn't cover with Aflac. Who are the only 2 Ohio State true freshmen to lead the team in receiving yards? That's a good question. I should be able to answer that question. So I'm thinking Ted Ginn.
That would be a good one.
Boston.
Did Chris Carter play as a freshman?
Chris Carter probably played for Ohio State when he sprinted out of the womb. That's Chris Carter.
They've had so many great receivers. That's the issue.
First down to the 20-yard line. They fire far side. Abuka turns it up. Emeka Egbuka with the 68-yard touchdown reception.
It's hard for true freshmen to get on the field in that room.
All right, Chris Carter's
there
one.
You go.
Devin Smith.
Man, and think about all the receivers that are not on this list. Although maybe Jeremiah Smith, number 4, maybe he's going to join them.
Second down and short. They need 2 yards. First down as Howard finds Emeka Egbuka again. Egbuka has just been wide open in this game, and he's running well after the catch. I believe Emeka Egbuka's a pretty good golfer, like a 6-hand.
Yeah, Meg took up golfing in the offseason. You talk about a guy that is just like a really strong leader. He was one of the leaders that kind of corralled all these veteran players for Ohio State and said, hey, we've got unfinished business. Why don't we go back? Let's do something special here in Columbus at Ohio State. And it's a big reason why all these players, including Travion Henderson and Donovan Jackson on the offensive side, are back here playing for the Buckeyes.
Gain 28 on that play. First and 10 at the 44. Here's a handoff to Travion Henderson with a bounce it outside. First down, cuts it back inside and goes down to the 25-yard line. Josh Moten with the tackle on Travion Henderson.
Well, look at these guys up front. There's Jackson, 74. Look how good Donovan Jackson is. The mark of a quality offensive lineman, Gus, is stickiness. He does not allow the defensive line to detach.
Howard pulls it down, wants to run. Donovan Jackson, that left guard, dealing with the hammy. Back in the lineup now. And that offensive line, and I don't want to say this too seriously, Joel, but last year maybe a slight Achilles heel for Ohio State.
Well, listen, they were still very good, but the problem is that you measure Ohio State against the best in the country. So, you measure them against last year Michigan. And while they ran the football fairly effectively in that game, I don't think that the run game has been a strength of theirs lately.
Meanwhile, it's not a strength right here. What a well-played defensive play by Chris Thomas, the junior from Tallahassee, Florida. Florida transfer, loss of 2.
Yeah, you're just going to see the penetration coming in from this right side, and it's just a total mistake right there. The right tackle, Josh Fryer, didn't step down. That ball's trying to go to the left. He's got to step down and take care of that left side gap. And they will be honest with people. They feel very strongly that the left side of the offensive line is elite. 71 Simmons and 74 Jackson. What their question marks about is the right side of the offensive line.
On 3rd down and 4, here's Egbuka on the reverse, and he'll pick up a first down. When you look at that Ohio State offensive line, Josh Simmons, transfer from San Diego State. They call him Jimmy because there are so many Joshes on the team. Seth McLaughlin, transfer from Alabama, started 24 games. And we had a chance to sit down and talk to Seth, the Alabama transfer. What's the story on him? It seemed like he was a little contemplative.
Well, I think that in this day and age, when you play for these major programs, pending what happens in the biggest games, there can be, let's just say, a better fresh start for you somewhere else. And I think that's the case with Seth McLaughlin, who's very happy here in Columbus.
Inside handoff. Travion Henderson, touchdown, Ohio State. A line providing huge openings for Judkins and Henderson. 14-yard touchdown run, and the Buckeyes take a 27-7 lead.
Yeah, that offensive line, and again, that left side. Watch the left side, Gus. So here, watch this block down, and then you're going to get the pull around this side. And all Henderson's got to do is find that massive lane and then a cutback. He beats a couple of Marshall defenders, and it's an easy touchdown for the Buckeyes. This run game is going to be dynamic this year.
Jaden Fielding, extra point, and it's good. 28-7, 28 unanswered points by the Buckeyes.
Think of the depth that this team has at such important positions, whether it's running back, wide receiver, or even pass rusher. The dynamic duos, Gus. You just pull the lever if you're Ryan Day, and it's like, you win. Akabuka and Jeremiah Smith on the outside. Henderson and Judkins, we've seen them be tremendous already today. Now, what we haven't seen is that pass rush show up yet today, but Tuimoloau and Sawyer certainly are guys that they expect to have dominant seasons here in Columbus.
Judkins, 114 yards rushing. Henderson, 36. Judkins last week against Western Michigan, 9 carries, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns. Henderson last week, 10 carries, 66 yards, a couple of tugs. Travion Henderson now with 35 career touchdowns. The world-famous Buckeyes. Unbelievable.
Oh, my goodness.
Unbelievable. 3 straight out of bounds for Jay Fielding, and it's one of those Jaden Fielding days.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team number 38. The ball he placed at the 35-yard line. It's 1st and 10. Marshall.
I know everybody's like, how could he do that? But
Well, I was going to tell the story, Joel.
oh, go ahead.
I mean, we saw this with Ohio State a few years back when there was this meddlesome coach that should have stayed in his role. Instead, he wanted to coach special teams. He wanted to directionally kick the ball, and he kicked it out of bounds a bunch of times. That guy's name was Urban Meyer.
Oh, man.
Unbelievable. First down, 10 at the 35 for Marshall. Remember that, JK? They were kicking the ball out of bounds. Urban was the head coach against Penn State. Yeah, you know.
Second
Yeah.
down.
2nd and 4. It's 2nd and 4, folks.
From the 41.
When you don't want to talk about it, you just call down and distance. 2nd and 4, 41.
Listen, I do remember that.
Yeah.
And remember when we brought it up in a production meeting and he got salty?
Yes.
Oh, he got salty.
Yeah, he did. He's the same guy that did that and benched the quarterback that never lost a game in Cardale Jones. Unbelievable. Undefeated quarterback. Never lost a game. And our guy benches him.
I thought you were going to go with the lack of carries for Zeke against Michigan.
Well, I was getting there.
You getting there?
I was getting there.
He's going to come up here with his 3 rings and hit us upside the head.
First down at 10 for 46.
Goodness,
Tongue firmly planted in cheek, coach. You know we love you. First down for Marshall. 2:25 to go. And he'll stay on the ground. No room there. JT Tuimoloau. Johnny on the spot.
Oh, there he is. You know, this guy has high-level potential. Doesn't show up in every single game. You know, there are quiet days for Tuimoloau, but boy.
That'll take us to the 2-minute timeout. We'll finish that story when we come back, partner. 28-7. Buckeyes on top of the Thundering Herd. Q putting up big numbers early. Back at Brands, 6,000 destinations. And by Edward Jones.
After allowing their first touchdown of the season, the Buckeyes with 28 straight points. They have the lead here in Columbus. Rob Stone with you. And coming up on the State Farm halftime embattled Florida head coach Billy Napier and his Gators at Mississippi State, a game they really feel they need to win. Great ACC start so far for Clemson against North Carolina State. And guys, Indiana trying to go to 4-0 and move to the top of the Big Ten standings. We'll see you at the break.
I tell you what, Indiana under their first-year coach, Joel, has been putting up some big numbers on offense.
Yeah, Dirk Signetti, and remember, you know, back in the summer, he said, hey, basically a version of Coach Prime's We Comin', and he's backed it up.
Underneath, say he brought a lot of his James Madison guys to Bloomington. That ball caught by Braylon Brown.
A nice catch there, and a good ball. And now you got to hurry up here if you're Marshall.
3rd down and 1 after the 10-yard gain at the 45.
You know, Marshall and the ability of Stone Earl to run that quarterback, they have totally changed the structure of this defense. Now, no safety, straight man coverage.
Earl will run it, trying to get outside for the first down, and he gets it. Clock stops at 1:25.
So here this defense now, they know that they've got to have all these guys. Look at them. They're just sitting right here all across the edge, and there's no safeties back because they've got to have at least one player accounting for the quarterback in the run game. about Charles Huff? Did you see him backing up right there? He got some nimble feet on that sideline.
Former Hampton Pirate football player. And the MEAC, Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. First down and 10 at the 43. Turner with room. He'll lean forward. And get to the 35 after an 8-yard gain.
Marshall's got to be high. Listen, I know it's 28-7. That's largely because of the explosiveness of that offense, but you know, they've been able to run the football against this Ohio State defense, in particular in this structure, Gus, when Ohio State puts their safeties back and they don't bring an extra defender into the run box. Marshall is winning up front, and they're doing a heck of a job.
Under a minute to play in the first half. 2nd and 2 at the 35 for the Thundering Herd. And a timeout call by the Buckeyes.
Timeout, Ohio State. It's their first of the half. It'll be 30 seconds in length.
Charles Huff.
Coach Huff, he's a Nick Saban former assistant. He's a James Franklin at Penn State former assistant. So he's much traveled in college football. A lot of experience and a great personality. He's got a sense of humor.
I mean, the clip this week of him trying to entice the transfers from Ohio State was priceless. Great personality and a heck of a coach, man. Think of the guys he's coached in his career: Saquon Barkley, Najee Harris, C.J. Spiller when he was an assistant with the Buffalo Bills. You know, this guy he's got a tremendous pedigree, and he's done a really nice job at Marshall.
He's coached at Maryland, Hampton, Vandy, the Buffalo Bills, Western Michigan, Penn State, Mississippi State, and Bama. 2nd and 2 at the 35. And they want to throw it. Ohio State prepared and incomplete. Chuck Montgomery wanted to toss it down the field. He'll lose 3 yards on the play.
They didn't take the cheese, partner. Those players in the secondary knew they didn't have that run responsibility because, again, I've been telling you they've been playing with these deeper safeties back there, trying to prevent the big play, and that's exactly what they were able to prevent right there. Veteran group at safety: Lathan Ransom, number 8, Hancock, number 7, Caleb Downs, number 2.
3rd down and 4 at the 37. Stone Earl steps up in the pocket, wants to throw it. Sideline, threw a strike and caught for first down. Looks like Braylon Brown. Might have been out of bounds, though. Yeah, he was. So that will negate a 15-yard reception and a first down.
There's that left foot out of bounds right there. Also that right foot. And he was not contacted or pushed out, so comes back.
So the previous play is on the further review.
So they'll review it. Pretty obvious. It shouldn't take long for this one with 37 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I think that the question is like, did he get reestablished? But without contact putting him out of bounds, I don't think that he can come back in.
Dean Blandino joins us. Dino, what do you think?
Joel, you're exactly right. He goes out on his own and then does reestablish, so he can't be the first to touch. They ruled it incomplete. What it actually is a foul for illegal touching. The result is the same. It's going to be a loss of down at the previous spot, but it is a catch, but he did come back in bounds after being out of bounds. Can't be the first to touch in that.
And just to clear up all that terminology, you know, Dean, for the fans at home, if he was pushed out of bounds by the defender and then he came back and reestablished himself as an inbounds player, then he can be the first to touch the ball. But since he went out on his own with no contact, whether he reestablishes or not as an inbounds player, it does not matter. He can't be the first to touch that forward pass.
(28-7). Marshall.
Maybe you and I and Dean should handle the replays.
How much does it pay?
$20.
That's good enough for me. I'll take that 20. So as they sort this thing out, Joel, as you look at college football, week 4 for us, what do you see? Georgia, Kentucky.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Now, here's my question to you. Was Georgia's offense not as explosive as we think, or was Kentucky's defense better?
Probably
After review, receiver number 8 did reestablish after stepping out of bounds. However, he stepped out of bounds on his own accord, then came back in bounds. Therefore, we have illegal touching. The penalty is a loss of down at the previous spot. It's still 4th down, or it's 4th down.
Like I said, I think we could handle these ourselves at times.
Tough job for these guys.
Kentucky, I think, is good defensively. There's that. But I do think that Georgia doesn't have the downfield threats that they had in previous years with Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers. You know, and when they got banged up in the offensive line, they lost their best guard, their best offensive lineman, really, their guard, during that game. You could see things slowed down for them on the offensive side. I was surprised Mark Stoops punted late in that game, but, you know, his defense was playing well.
Tough call. So 4th down and 4 at the 37. Ohio State creeping up to the line of scrimmage. Now they back out of it. Stone Earl has been solid here in the first half for the Thundering Herd. Play fake. Caught. Another first down. Metcalf trying to get out of bounds as he crosses the 30. A 10-yard gain on 4th down and 4.
I'm just so impressed with Stone Earl, and they're going to get a roughing the passer here. He was contacted high after he let go of this ball.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 92. Half the distance to the goal from the end of the run. Automatic, 1st down.
It's Caden Curry who came up with the sack.
That ball is leaving the hand of the quarterback so quickly they can't get those sacks. They can't get the pressure. Credit to Earl. Stone Earl has played really well. Obviously, they're down 28-7. It's a difficult thing for Marshall against a team of this caliber, but Gus, you've seen constantly that ball out of his hands. I think they might check this for a targeting as well, since he was contacted up high. Once he's in the passing position, he's then a defenseless player. Once you're a defenseless player, you get protection in the head or neck area. Any forcible contact up in the head or neck area, and then that player, Caden Curry, would be called for a targeting, which they could put on in a review.
Now, you were talking about Georgia. How about Texas?
Well, we saw them.
I mean, is Arch Manning poised after last week when Quinn Ewers got hurt?
There's that look at that potential targeting. Arch gets the start today against Louisiana Monroe. He obviously looked terrific coming in for an injured Quinn Ewers. Quinn's going to be their quarterback. You know, if you talk with people in that organization, including Steve Sarkisian, there's no controversy.
They're not talking about it. Just tell
regardless
them
of whether or not Arch plays great, because Quinn is the guy that has the experience and the ability. Quinn's going to have the ability to possibly win the Heisman, possibly be a top 5 draft pick, and possibly lead them to a national championship.
And the reason we talk about these two teams, folks, or the teams rather in general, is Ohio State. They're up there with them. Top teams in the nation. We've seen Alabama. We've seen Texas early on in this season. I'm missing somebody who else. And now we're seeing Ohio State.
Sluggish first quarter here from the Buckeyes. I think you'd agree with that. If we go back to this review, I would think that this would be called targeting. You know, you can't even give that slight headbutt to the face of a quarterback like that. I'll be surprised if
After review, number 92 of the defense targeted the quarterback. Therefore, he is disqualified from further participation.
So they will send Caden Curry out of the game. Dean, your thoughts?
So what we're looking for here, did he lead with the head? And he did. You'll see that slight dip of the head. There is forcible contact into the head neck area. As Joel said, all the elements are there. This is targeting. You've got to stay off the head neck area, get that head to the side. Does a good job in terms of trying to wrap, but when you lead with the head and make that forcible contact, that is a foul for targeting.
Yeah, he even knew it. His head went down right away as he left. And so Curry, who was getting a lot of playing time here today, remember they're without their starting defensive tackle Tyleik Williams, so a little bit of a rotation for the Buckeyes up front defensively. And now they'll be without Curry as well.
First down and 10 at the 13-yard line for Marshall. Can they pay it off? 12 seconds to go. Stone Earl over the middle in the end zone. Touchdown, Thundering Herd. What a throw and what a catch. And once again, it's Elijah Metcalf. Baller.
Let's see if he got that foot down in the back of the end zone. Does he get that foot down? Oh, my goodness, that is close.
He didn't. Looks like he was on the line.
And he has to control the ball first. It looks like he's got control. This is going to be the best angle. There's control with that left hand, man. That is tough.
That is so close.
So, Gus, remember now, it's got to be in order. Establish control first. Okay, so here's feet are off the ground. Control the football. Yes, now foot. I don't know. I don't know if there's enough to overturn that either way.
I feel like that left heel was still up. You can't see it from this angle. But it feels like his toe got down before his heel came down. So this may stand.
Well, you're not the whole step has to be in. So it wouldn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
If any part of that left foot touches the white line, it's incomplete. Doesn't matter, you know, whether it's in a process of the full step. But Gus, this might be the best look. I can't tell.
Can't tell.
Think he's in.
You can't tell.
I don't think there's any way to overturn that. What a catch. You've been singing Metcalf's praises all day.
When you watch this kid on film, he is electric. Here's Dean. Dean, touchdown or incomplete?
Well, the three of us, yeah, I think it's a stance, and the three of us are taking over Big Ten replay today. The left foot, the entire foot has to be inbounds. And to me, the looks we have, it just looks like it might, on one angle, maybe it's out.
After review, the ruling on the field of a touchdown stands.
And they're going to let the touchdown stand. Elijah Metcalf got enough in.
Man, what a great grab. I think that's the look. I just don't think he's on the white. I think he gets that whole left foot in the red paint, and it's a touchdown. Marshall, how about the throw, too? Metcalf ran a great route. I mean, a great route. And then the throw was tremendous.
Elijah Metcalf. What a first half. 10-play drive covering 65 yards for Marshall. They eat up 3 minutes and 27 seconds. Metcalf in the first half. 8 catches, 68 yards, a touchdown. He's averaging 8.5 yards per reception.
So I want you to watch the safety. So, excuse me, the safety back there. And what you're going to see is this route goes to the safety, delays, and then he gets behind him. And then you're going to see the quarterback just throw it to the space in the middle of the field. There's the delay by the route, beats Lathan Ransom. And now it's just about getting that foot down, and he's able to do it. Great anticipation from the quarterback. Really good throw, throwing to that open spot, and then the route from Metcalf was sensational. Did you see that little delay, that little shimmy from his shoulders? It just freezes the safety, and then it's a touchdown for Marshall.
Coach Huff will take it. Marshall. Thundering Herd came to play today. 28-14. They're undermanned, undersized, but giving maximum effort against one of the top teams, if not the #1 team in the nation, Ohio State. 6 seconds remaining in the second, as the Ohio State offense comes back on for one more play. 20 plays in the first half for the Bucks. 28 points, over 300 total yards. Marshall with 46 plays, to the 20 for Ohio State.
I mean, 46 plays in the first half for Marshall. That Ohio State defense is going to be, get the IVs ready at half. My goodness.
Ohio State gets the ball to start the second half. Our halftime score, Ohio State 28, Marshall 14. Good game so far. Coming up, don't forget, Rob Stone and the boys with the State Farm Halftime Show right here from Ohio Stadium. Ohio State on top of Marshall. Gus Johnson along with my QB Joel Klatt. If I'm Marshall, I feel really good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that the Thundering Herd were able to move the ball effectively against this Ohio State defense.
They did a great job. I thought that their quarterback was terrific, Stone Earle, and he stood in there and he made quick decisions, so he didn't allow that pass rush for Ohio State to get loose on him. And then they didn't drop passes on the outside, which is what plagued them against Virginia Tech. They were able to run the football and make this a game. Let's take a look at our next level moments of the first half. Sponsored by AT&T Business. Reliability for your business is our business. It was Marshall early, Ethan Payne with that 1-yard run. And they were on the board, and Ohio State would strike quickly. Here's Emeka Egbuka, and this is just how quickly Ohio State can strike. This is an elite offense with a lot of elite players. They showed it. That was the second snap of the game. But then this was a huge moment. What looked to be a fumbled punt or a muffed punt and recovered by Marshall was called back because they were not on the line of scrimmage. There you see pointing it out, a procedure penalty. The next play after the subsequent punt, Quinshon Judkins, 86 yards to the house, and Ohio State led then 21-7, so a massive 14-point swing. And with the way that the half ended in a 14-point deficit for Marshall after the Metcalf touchdown, that muffed punt and then penalty looked to be the difference there in the first half. And to your point, partner, it was really a Marshall team that came out there and they battled and they made a couple of mistakes, but then they took advantage of mistakes from Ohio State. Our first half check-in is sponsored by Allstate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Those total yards in favor of Ohio State, but the yards per play, Marshall doing a nice job, over 4 yards per play. And then the key number there, Gus, 21-47 time of possession on the Herd side.
Stone Earle, very solid first half for this Marshall team. He was 16 of 21, 132 yards, a touchdown, no picks. Quarterback rating of 144.7.
It was, again, their ability to get the ball out quickly and stay away from that rush. And I thought that they did a nice job of spreading the field out on offense, forcing the Ohio State defense to kind of declare, do we want to defend the run or do we want to defend the pass? They clearly wanted to defend the pass, and that's what allowed Earle to get loose early in that half, running the ball. And then he just threw it beautifully. And again, they didn't have those drops. I've been impressed with Marshall's offense, and more specifically their quarterback.
Just think about it, Joel, as you mentioned it. Marshall is able to retain that muffed punt. The complexion of this game could be totally different.
Totally different. Totally different. And Ohio State has been outside of the big plays, so like the stars, they've been sloppy, to be candid with you. You know, the defense, the effort has not been as good today as what I saw on film in the previous 2 games that they've played. We had 3 free kicks out of bounds. Fielding, kicking it out of bounds 3 different times. We had the muffed punt. Like, special teams have not been clean for the Buckeyes.
I'd be surprised if Fielding gets an opportunity to kick off again in this game. Right now, Ohio State ready to return it. Nathan Totten will kick it off for Marshall. He drives his ball out of the end zone. So Will Howard back on the field. In the meantime, let's go downstairs to JT.
Well, the first thing, Gus, that Coach Day told me going into the locker room, well, 3 kicks out of bounds, that's ridiculous. So I followed with, are you going to talk to Jaden Fielding? What are you going to say? He said, yeah, kick it better. It's as simple as that. He also said we need to make adjustments, making sure we're getting off the field on 3rd down. That needs to improve for us. For Marshall, Coach Huff was pretty optimistic about what he's seen from his offense. You guys touched on it. He said our O-line is doing a great job allowing Stone Earle to have some time, Elijah Metcalf to make some plays. He told his guys, remember Remember why you love the game, why you fell in love when you were 5 years old. We need to get some more turnovers to stay in this thing.
All right, Jen, thank you. 1st and 10 to the 25. They'll throw this one out wide to Judkins as he turns it up. How about Ryan Day, though? 45 years old, 6th full season as the head coach at Ohio State. Won the Big Ten title in 20 and 21. Big Ten Coach of the Year in 2019. Urban Meyer's offensive coordinator. I just think he's done. I know he's lost the 3 straight games to Michigan, but as a coach, he has done a spectacular job with one of the elite programs in all of America.
Yeah, but even if you ask him, he'll say, like, hey, listen, I understand the standard at Ohio State. You can't have a bad day at Ohio State. You can't have a bad Wednesday. You can't have a bad Tuesday. You certainly can't have a bad Saturday, and in particular that last one in November.
On 2nd down and 7 at the 28-yard line, it's Judkins. Q gets to the 40.
How impressive is he?
Man.
He's just his balance and agility are special. They're elite. You see that as he's just running through all of these arm tackles. It's almost like he's running on bodies at times. He's just running right over people.
Same play, Abuka cuts it inside, finally dropped at the 45. Nice run after the catch as Jaden Yates makes the tackle. His dad played for Marshall, Jaden Yates. Around 1997, gain of 6, 2nd and 4. Judkins over 100 for the 2nd game in a row and the 16th time in his career. Number 1. In your programs and in your heart. Here's a pitch. Q. It's a 1-yard gain. Said when he came up to Ohio State for his visit from Montgomery, Alabama, played at Ole Miss in Mississippi, he said, man, it was snowing and I didn't know what to do. It was cold.
Well, he'll see that soon enough. Henderson back in the game. You know who's been quiet is Jeremiah Smith. He's at the top of your screen. You wonder on 3rd down, well, maybe they target the sensational freshman out there on the outside.
3rd down and 3 at the 46-yard line. Howard out of the shotgun. Here's Will Howard with time. Near side throw, incomplete. Tate, the target. Jacoby Henderson defensively, and there is a flag.
Pass interference. Defense, number 10. The ball we placed in the spot of the foul. Automatic. 1st down.
You know, Tate kind of gets away with this because watch, he slips. I didn't know if he was going to get back, but then there's the clear hold there. I mean, that's as obvious as you can get. Both flags come in, and Ohio State, look at even Will Howard's like, well, hey, where's the laundry? And that's about as easy a call as you can get.
So a 1st down for Ohio State at the Marshall 47. Opening series of the 2nd half. The Buckeyes. Travion Henderson back in the game at running back. Play fake. Howard sets up a screen. Near side. Caught. Kasmerick. Nice little move after the catch. I'll pick up 7.
How about the fight from Jacoby Henderson? He just had that penalty, but he's going to fight through this block right here from Abuka. As Abuka's trying not to hold it, he still gets the tackle as he's just like half a man still being blocked and gets to the legs of the tight end. That's a terrific effort.
2nd down and 3 at the 40-yard line. They pitch it. Henderson squares up. Henderson. Nice burst. Still on the move. Henderson. High-stepping. Travion Henderson. Touchdown. Buckeyes. 40 yards. And Joel, last year we didn't see that little pitch. That's a Chip Kelly, would I say? Should I say? Play.
I would absolutely agree, and you're going to try to pull out that offensive line, but what you see here is just great vision from Henderson as he sees the lane. Once he catches the pitch, there's that little stutter step, almost baits the safety to come up into the wrong alley. That was Foster, 41, and then there's the stiff arm, man. Each one of these guys have the speed, but also the power, Gus, to fight through tackles and go the distance.
Travion Henderson coming out of Virginia has always been a big play home run prospect. They've criticized him for not being able to stay healthy, for not being able to run through contact. Well, he ran through contact right there. 35-14. Trey. Class. Chris Hemsworth. Extraction 1 and 2. Awesome. Okay, folks, new kicker. Austin Snyder, Jaden Fielding. Got a case of yips, 3 straight kicks out of bounds. Snyder gets the job done. Marshall will return it. Jordan Houston will get to the 20-yard line.
Did you hear the crowd come alive a little bit as that one did not go out of bounds? I'll tell you, that's the definition. If you're Austin Snyder, number 98, Gus, that is the definition of you have one job. Just don't kick it out of bounds. You're going to get an ovation from 100,000 in the shoe. And look, everybody over there dapping him up on the side. He's like, oh, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Wow. Snyder's a second-year guy here at Ohio State. He did play at Findlay before he came here. Rob Keys was at Findlay, and now he's the quality control special teams coach here at Ohio State, so that's why Snyder is here with the Buckeyes.
So Ohio State allowing Marshall to start from their own 20. First down and 10. Here's a handoff. Houston. And Jordan Houston gained 4.
So here's what's going on right now. Ohio State is testing their defensive front. 2 safeties back. That means that everyone can be blocked in the run front, and they're just going to run the ball over here against only 3 guys on that weak side. Now, the linebacker is there. That's Sonny Styles. Got to make the tackle. That one went for 4.
2nd and 6. Jordan Houston again. And he'll pick up a couple before running into the outstretched arms of Sonny Styles.
So then the defensive tackles, they've got to take up 2 offensive linemen, 1 guy, so that the linebacker can be free. That's what happens. Tackle does his job. Styles then is unblocked. That's how you defend the run right there. The defensive line is responsible for taking 2. Allows the linebacker to make the tackle.
Hero Canoe coming off the field. 3rd down and 3 at the 27. Earl, quarterback run. And he won't get there. Slipping again. It's the 2nd time he's lost his footing trying to run the football.
Yeah.
And that brings up 4th and 2.
We saw it on the 4th down earlier, Gus, and they're just trying to run right over here on the left side. And they got decent push, and now we've got a player injured down for Marshall. And I think that's Stone Earl. You just wonder, hopefully, or excuse me, yeah, that's Stone Earl down. And you hope that's just a cramp versus something that happened when he slipped trying to get upfield.
Professional great. Tomorrow, it's an NFL doubleheader on Fox as Jalen Hurts leads the Eagles against the Saints or other regional action. Then in America's Game of the Week, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens off to a slow start. Take on Dak and the Cowboys. Bounce back after losing to New Orleans last week. Check for the games in your area. Only on Fox and Fox Sports app. Had a chance to listen to some Tom Brady in his 2nd game. Joel, I think he's doing an incredible job of trying to learn on the fly. And as we know, this is not an easy job.
There's no doubt. It's been fun listening to him, and he'll get the Cowboys again this week.
Fair caught at the 40-yard line. 34-yard punt will stay right here. As the Buckeyes come back on the field. Junkins and Henderson have combined for 12 carries, 202 yards, 3 touchdowns, 16.8 yards per carry. And when you talk about Chip Kelly, what they say is his running game schemes are phenomenal.
Well, I think this is certainly the best duo of running backs that he's had, with a combination of wide receivers. So he's got tools at his disposal that, frankly, he's never had, even when he was at Oregon, some of those fast players that he had at Oregon. So it's going to take him a beat, if you will, to figure out what this team does best. And once he figures that out, they're going to be really dangerous.
First down to the 40-yard line. Howard over the middle. Behind his receiver. And incomplete. Jelani Thurman the target. Chip Kelly. Chipper, the Ripper. Oregon. Philadelphia Eagles. San Francisco 49ers. UCLA Bruins head coach. Wonderful mind. And talking to him yesterday, it was very easy because we were pretty honest with him. What are you doing as an assistant? And he said, I just want to coach ball. As a head coach, the only thing you do is set the practice schedule and go out and try to hunt down money. I just want to coach ball now.
I think that he would be open to being a head coach again if the right opportunity were to arise. I think that the location that he was at was not a good fit for him, and therefore he came here to a place that he knew he would have elite talent and he could coach ball.
On 3rd and 6, they pick up the first down. Nice catch. Jeremiah Smith, freshman. And obviously, there are some rumors that Florida could be open. Billy Napier struggling. Florida State could be open, which I find as a surprise. And Chip Kelly's name has been thrown around for those jobs.
Yeah, it'll always be thrown around. And what's nice for Chip is that he's happy here. He gets to call plays for guys like Jeremiah Smith. Nice route right over the middle. And he can be selective because he's working for a guy that he trusts and loves in Ryan Day, who played for him at New Hampshire. And he gets to call offense for an elite group. So he doesn't just have to jump at the first open.
Juckins picks up a first down. Look at the running after contact. Pugh with a gain of 16.
And keep in mind now, and I'm going to go back to a point I made really early in this game, is that they're playing with their intended starting offensive line for the first time with Simmons and Donovan Jackson on that left side. And a lot of these bigger runs that we've seen, Gus, have been over that left side. They feel like those two are elite. Seth McLaughlin is a solidifier in the middle at the center position. Something tells me this could be a run game that could be up there in the upper echelons in the entire sport.
First down and 10 of the 29. Howard sets up deep all day to throw the football. Dumps it off and it's incomplete. So you're right, partner. Ohio State's been really sloppy in all areas today.
Well, there's going to be a lot to work on if you're Ryan Day. There has been some sloppiness. There, Howard got off of his first read. Jeremiah Smith was going to come open. If he just stays front side, he can throw it to number 4 up at the top of the screen. But he decided to come off of that in his progression, go to number 2, and then just overthrows the tight end. Again, Howard's a huge piece of this. Okay, all these pieces around Will Howard can be fantastic, but he's going to, at some point this season, have to be the most impactful player on the field. That's what happens at quarterback in the biggest games.
Some people feel that Will Howard is the most important player in college football as he leads this Ohio State team. Everything on his shoulders. He's a big man, 6'5". Now a flag being thrown.
Yes. Timeout, Ohio State. That's their first timeout. We have a dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct foul on the Ohio State head coach. It'll be 15 yards from the succeeding spot.
So here's what's going on. Ohio State, they traded personnel groups and substituted somewhat late in the play clock. And then the officials step in and they allow Marshall to then match up. And Marshall took their time, let's just face it, and they get to do that. They ran in a whole new set of defensive linemen and they kind of jogged on the field. Well, the officials are going to let them match up like that. And Ryan Day, as the play clock was shrinking down to 0, was livid, and he's still yelling at the officials. He's like, hey, you gave them too much time to match up with us. How much time do I need to give you? So he's trying to yell for a timeout. Then he's got some words for the official and gets the flag right there. You see this a lot, by the way. You know, these teams that will substitute offensively late in the play clock. Lincoln Riley gets in trouble with this when he's calling plays offensively for USC. And the opposing, this is their strategy on the other side. If they sub late and the official holds the snap, they'll run in, Gus, 6 new players and just kind of jog them slowly on the field. And Ryan Day was not happy about it.
Ryan Day still with a lot of pressure. He's still a very, very young man, only 45 years old in his 6th season. And remember when he was a coordinator, he had this fresh, cherubic face, folks. I tell you, he took the head coaching job. It felt like a year later, he looked like the president after 2 terms.
You know what I think he's still upset about? Is that he got called for that personal foul. But what he's trying to say is, I'm on the field because I had to call a timeout because you gave them too much time to match up. That's why I'm on the field. So why do you call a flag for me being out on the field if I called a timeout? And if that's what he's arguing, then he's correct on that point.
So that'll make it 2nd down and 25. Judkins in the backfield. Q straight ahead. They'll go down inside the 40-yard line. Tackle on the play by Mike Green. I'll tell you, folks, watch number 15. He may not show out today, but Mike Green, they say, has a chance to be a Sunday player.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Mike Green. He's already got 3.5 sacks on the year, 14 tackles coming into this game. That leads the Sun Belt, those 3.5 sacks. He was stuck behind some veteran players a year ago at Marshall, but by the end of the year, he was their best pass rusher, and he's been terrific here early in the season.
Very athletic. Benches 405, squats 550. 3rd and 19 at the 39. Howard in trouble. And Howard will be sacked by guess who? Mike Green. Money.
Money Mike with the effort up top. Here we go right here. And then watch his spin move back to the inside. Gus right there, or outside, excuse me. Terrific spin move. Beats Josh Fryer. And then Howard's got nowhere to go. This guy has an elite ability on the outside, and you can see it right there. Now 4.5 sacks on the year, and he is on the mark for Marshall.
Call him Money Green, Kendrick Lamar song. That's a Kendrick Lamar song right there. Money Making Mike. Awesome. Flag on the play.
Then they'll have another conference.
Delay a game. Defense. For action, abrupt actions not common in the game in an attempt to get the offense to false start. 5-yard penalty. It's still 4th down.
This is a new rule this year. We haven't had it pop up in any of our broadcasts, but you can't have an abrupt shift as a defense. That's what they called.
Marshall will get the football back. That one into the end zone for a touchdown. We told you about Mike Green. This is what his coach said. Mike Green reminds me a lot of Thai great Will Anderson. Perhaps not quite as powerful, but maybe more athletic. Big time sack. 35-14 at drpeppertuition.com. 35-14, 6:23 to play. 3rd quarter. Buckeyes on top of the Marshall Thundering Herd. And a new quarterback, J.K., in the game.
Yeah, we saw that last possession. Stone Earl limped off the field after being banged up. So now it's Braylon Braxton. Braxton, a little bit more of a dynamic runner in the run game. He will hold it a little bit longer in the pocket. There's Stone Earl over on the sideline.
Braxton throws and almost intercepted, incomplete. On 1st down, let's go downstairs and check in with Jenny.
I know you guys did point out Stone Earl out of the medical tent. He was receiving an IV, and what I can tell you, as you guys know, it's hot down here. Guys on Marshall's sideline have been cramping up. Now it's 90 degrees right now outside, but I just tested the field with the infrared thermometer. 145 degrees coming from that turf. It's hot down here. Can I have some fall football weather, guys? Come on.
Yeah, no doubt. Jenny, stay cool down there. 2nd and 10 at the 20. Here's a handoff. And it's Ethan Payne. So how about Braylon Braxton, 6'1", 221 junior. He's from Frisco, Texas. His last game, didn't get a chance to play against Virginia Tech, but on the season, 7 of 11, 141 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 18 yards rushing, no touchdowns. He's thrown 14 touchdowns and 8 interceptions in his career. First year at Marshall after 3 at Tulsa.
That's Bryce Ramsey, 55, who takes a knee, the left guard.
Welcome back. 35-14. Ohio State leading Marshall. 6:03 to go here in the third quarter from Columbus, Ohio. New quarterback in the game. As we mentioned, Braylon Braxton. His best season was in 2022 when he threw for 1,133 yards with 10 touchdowns, 2 picks. Also ran for 5 scores. Back-to-back 300-yard games against South Florida and Houston at Tulsa. 3rd down and 3. And here he is on the quarterback run with some space, picks up the 1st down and a little bit more. Nicely done as Sonny Styles comes up and makes the tackle.
They have done such a good job with the quarterback run, and that one was just totally designed, running back in a lead up into the hole for Braylon Braxton. And Braxton, just a nice gain, moves the chains, but this is a defensive front that had been dominant in the first couple of weeks against Akron and Western Michigan, less so today. They have not stopped the run all that well, and they have not created a lot of pressure on the quarterback. That's worrisome here if you're a Buckeye fan.
91 yards rushing for Marshall. They stay on the ground and not a lot of room. Very nice tackle this time by Jordan Hancock. As Ethan Payne trying to squirt through the hole.
His helmet popped off, so now Lorenzo Styles, number 3, has to jog on. So now Styles will be in that nickel position, top of your screen in the slot.
2nd down and 11 at the 32. Remember, Buckeyes playing without Tyleik Williams. He's got an injury. And it's Turner wrestled down at the end. Good open field tackle. Lathan Ransom. Another one of those veterans that came back. When you look at the Ohio State's roster, especially on defense, it's almost like everybody came back.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys, and as you said, they invested in that. Tui Moloau Sawyer, Tyleik Hamilton, Lathan Ransom, Cody Simon, Jordan Hancock, Denzel Burke, Davis Igbinosun, all these guys. They want to do something special. Now, to be fair, they haven't been great today defensively. I was expecting a little bit more from this defense, but you got to credit Marshall for what they've done as well.
3rd down and 6 at the 37, and Ohio State trying to get to the quarterback. They don't. A throw on the move to the sideline. Incomplete. Ohio State with great pressure. Braxton able to get out of trouble.
Mitchell Melton had a great opportunity in there. Sonny Styles, number 6, he had kind of the first opportunity, but credit Braxton for getting himself loose. Just couldn't get the ball completed down the field, and Ohio State forces them to punt it away.
Ennis, the deep man. Alec Clark sends it off. Ennis with the ball at the 36, breaks it upfield. He's got some space. Tried to hit the sideline, slips again. That's a 3rd time we've seen players slipping on this turf. Meanwhile, Coach Huff, the head coach at Marshall, he's got a great strategy about how to get Buckeyes players to West Virginia.
Would love to have some of those guys from Ohio State too. So if they want to transfer on down, we've got a Tudor's Biscuit NIL, all you can eat. So if any of those guys that run really, really fast at Ohio State like Tudor's Biscuits, I promise you, all you can eat all day if you transfer here. So, but yeah.
So good.
Biscuits.
Oh, man.
You never know.
No, listen, the best part is that Ohio State had fun with it. I was asking Coach Day about that, and he was like, yeah, we were all worried about Tyleik Williams.
Say he's a biscuit for being overweight. Over the middle, and the ball caught. Oh, here we go. The freshman, Jeremiah Smith. Touchdown. Ohio State, 53 yards.
Man, what do you do against this offense? I don't know what you do as a defensive coordinator. They've been running it in dominant fashion. So Gus, what do? They just throw a nice run fake over there. Maybe that's even an RPO, reading that backside defender. And then there's Jeremiah Smith. And that guy, his ability to turn the catch and go upfield and turn into a runner is elite at a young age.
Austin Snyder in to tip the extra point, and it's good. Jeremiah Smith last week against Western Michigan, 5 catches, 119 yards and a touchdown.
So here's going to be the blitz right here. As soon as there's a blitz, what you know is that there's going to be an area that you can get into with a route. And so there's a little bit of a pitch fake, and then now it's just one-on-one. And look at that. That ball is on his face, so a good ball from Will Howard. But his ability to turn into a threat and a runner right away, that's elite stuff. See him how he just grabs it, ball is high and tight right away, and then no one's catching him. Man, he is such a good-looking player. I know he's young. We had Ryan Williams last week, Gus from Alabama, 17-year-old. He was great. And Jeremiah Smith, you see in just that one play why he was the #1 player in the country.
Jeremiah Smith, player of the year in the state of Florida. Caught 88 balls for over 1,300 yards and 19 touchdowns. Ohio State catches Marshall blitzing. Now, speaking of the blitz, did I read an article this week where you said something about Michigan's maybe blitzing a little bit too much?
All in due time, sir. All in due time. Hey, how about these youngsters, though, man, on the outside? Ryan Williams from Bama, Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State, and what they have done in their young careers through the first 3 games. Smith ain't even done with his 3rd yet. Ryan Williams is electric, 4 touchdowns, each of them.
Hollywood.
Man, that's what they called Ryan.
That's right.
What's scary about Jeremiah Smith is that when you go to certain places and they've got a great freshman and you hear like, oh man, he's the best we've had. And you're like, okay, that's, you get it, right? But Gus, when you come here at that position group, and they start saying things like, he's the best we've had at that age, you're like, oh my goodness. Okay, because it's like real.
And they've had some incredible receivers here at this Ohio State program. Jenny can add.
Well, if you wonder what Jeremiah Smith thinks about all the pressure, he told me, I really just keep my head down. I get to work. I find ways to be better every day. I asked him this week, do you remember a time when you knew, hey, I'm pretty good at football. This is going to work for me? He said, I remember a time I wasn't. He was 7 years old. He told me he was cut by his team. He confirmed, unjustly cut. And I asked him, do you remember the name of the team? He said, Miami Garden Vikings. I know exactly everything about that day. He said, from then on, he said, I will never be outworked. And from that age, guys, this is a generational talent we have the privilege of watching.
You are absolutely right. Jenny Taft, and some good hitting going on for Ohio State. Denzel Burke comes up and drops him. Denzel Burke is an interesting story, too. Had a child during the offseason. And boy, he is maturing. Take a listen to this hit. Nice hit last year against Maryland. It must be interesting when you have a kid and you have to go to the store and buy stuff, it comes out of your pocket.
Well, and just the maturation that takes place over 4 years in a program, and they're getting to see that with Denzel Burke.
Braxton just guns it at the feet of his intended target, DeMarcus Harris.
What you get, if you're Ryan Day and you got all these veterans, and Burke is included in this, number 10, is that you got guys that now have grown up, and now all of a sudden you see that switch from being a young man with talent to a man with purpose. And he said, we've got a lot of men on this team that have a purpose to what they do every single day, both collectively and individually. And he just notices a big difference with this veteran group.
They're caught at the 27. Ohio State is known for their wide receivers dating back to Chris Carter in the 80s. And many of them have come in eras with Galloway, Glenn, and Boston in the 90s. Michael Jenkins, can't guard Mike, San Antonio Holmes, and Ted Ginn Jr. in the 2000s. And recently, Olave, Wilson, Smith, and Jigma, Marvin Harrison Jr. have all been drafted in the first round. Marvin Harrison Jr., a couple touchdowns last week for the Cardinals. Chris Olave just becoming a star with New Orleans.
You know, and you talk about that position group. I just got to give Brian Hartline a lot of credit.
Got to give him a lot of love.
He's the position coach, Brian Hartline, right at bottom of your screen right there. He just kind of turned up his headset. But you think of what he's done. This is the group that they have. Smith, Emeka Egbuka, Brandon Inniss, Carnell Tate. I mean, all of them highly recruited. But he develops guys as well as anybody, because think about it, they don't miss. It's not just that they get the recruits. They don't miss because he develops these guys.
What is it that he's telling them? What's the secret sauce, Joe?
Well, number one, he's an excellent technical coach. Okay, so just the technical ability of playing the position, he teaches it second to none.
Former NFL player, that ball thrown over the middle for first down.
Secondly, he cares about them as men, and he's a terrific mentor for them as men. So he understands what it takes to play in the league, and he tries to teach them how to become that person. Then thirdly, they have built a culture, what I would say, of accountability in that room and legacy in that room, where every single year there is an older player and a younger player, and the older player gets to mentor the young talent.
Howard over the middle again, and he's got his man. It's Carnell Tate. Tate freeing himself. 30-yard gain.
And what I get impressed with, so I watch the game film, not the television copy of all these games, and what I start getting impressed with is all the times that the guys aren't catching the football. So you see the plays that they make. We all see them at home. There's a nice catch for Carnell Tate. But it's the things that they do without the ball in their hands that I think make it a special wide receiver role.
Howard dancing in the pocket, and he'll just throw this one out of bounds.
So, Gus, a couple of examples of that would be like, there are routes that we call one of two things. You call them a brotherhood route or a for the love of the game route, where it's like your job, you're not even in the progression. Your job is to clear out the defense for your brother, because he's going to get the ball. This is designed for somebody else, but it's on you to run through as hard as you possibly can. Well, Ohio State does that generally better than most teams, and it's usually the older guys that get the brotherhood routes early in the season. So like against Western Michigan, you see Emeka Egbuka run right through the seam and clear out a whole area of the field for Carnell Tate.
Folks, my partner, he's not only my quarterback, but he's the head coach and offensive coordinator, Joel Klatt. Listen to him, learn from him like I do, folks. I tell you what, you are a wealth of information, my man.
Those are all the little things that make individuals great and teams greater.
After play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 10, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic, first down.
It's Jacoby Henderson.
But that's really what Coach Hartline has done. That's his legacy, you know. So when Chris Olave is a young player, he's got guys like Paris Campbell and KJ Hill in that room, and they're teaching him, you know, Terry McLaurin. And then when Olave is an older player, he's got guys like Garrett Wilson and Jackson Smith and Jigba. And when they're older, guess who they have? A young Marvin Harrison and Emeka Egbuka. And then now Emeka is older and Marvin's older, and they got a young Carnell Tate and now Jeremiah Smith. It's a lineage and legacy in that room.
8-2, second down and 8.
Second down and 8. Howard, play fake, backs up, near side, drops it off, and out of bounds. This time, it's Jelani Thurman, sophomore, from Fairborn, Georgia. And that should take us to the end of the third quarter. Ohio State with a big lead, 42-14 over Marshall.
That are civilians, not in the best damn band in the land, that have gotten to dot the I. I know Jack Nicklaus has gotten to dot the I. I think John Glenn has dotted the I. Archie Griffin just got to do it recently. Won 2 Heisman trophies.
We'll get there. 3rd down and 5 at the 16. Here's an inside handoff. Judkins, not a lot of room. He'll submarine forward and get close to the first down.
Sean Jenkins on the carry.
It's a 4-yard gain on the play.
I thought it was interesting talking with Quinshon about, you know, why he came here. Not just getting the call from Gus Johnson, although that's part of it. You know, also this idea of he wanted to come to an elite program, compete for a championship, but also the element of Travion Henderson being here was attractive to him because he led the nation in carries the last couple of years, and he needed to take some tread off of those tires and share carries, and so that's why he's here.
4th down and 1, first down. Judkins once again.
I thought it was fascinating talking to him about his recruiting visit up here once he was in the transfer portal. And rather than getting a pitch from Ryan Day, what did Ryan Day do? Talk to Trey. And so TreVeyon Henderson and Quinshon Judkins sat in a room together and talked this thing out and said, what would this look like? Speaks to the unselfishness of Henderson as well as Quinshon and what they can build here.
First down and goal at the 6. Judkins trying to get outside, breaks the tackle. Look at that. Q, second touchdown of the day for Ohio State. 48-14.
Man, the power. Another stiff arm. Both of these guys absolutely showing out, showing the electric ability to hit home runs, the power to run through tackles. This run game is going to be a problem. And again, they haven't even looked great today. And you look up and now it's 48-14, and this offense just kind of carried them through with some of these big plays. But man, every time he's been in a one-on-one situation, he's just been able to put all of that big paw, and it's a strong stiff arm from number 1.
Extra point good. 49-14 as we start the 4th quarter. The world-famous Ohio State Buckeyes throwing it into high gear now. They're doing it on the ground.
Emeka Egbuka right down the middle of the field. The veteran shows some explosiveness, and then the new Buckeye, Quinshon Judkins, 86 yards. TreVeyon got in on the mix. Another stiff arm from one of these backs, and then the youngster Jeremiah Smith, 53 yards. He's into the end zone. Tell you what, they can score from anywhere, can't they?
No doubt about it. Judkins, 173 yards and 2 touchdowns today. He ran for a career best 214 against Arkansas while at Ole Miss. And in the first 2 games, in the last 2 games exactly, for Ohio State, they have run for 519 yards and 11 touchdowns.
I'm looking forward to these games coming up on Fox a little bit later today. Got Utah and Oklahoma State in a ranked matchup. That should be a good one. That's the battle of the old quarterbacks, although I don't know exactly if Cam Rising's going to be able to start for Utah. And then that Baylor-Colorado game, that, you know, the winner of that game kind of quietly, Gus, puts themselves in a position where they can potentially compete with the upper echelon of the Big 12 Conference.
New quarterback in, Cole Pennington, the son of Marshall legend Chad Pennington. His first pass of the game, incomplete, dangerous. Chad Pennington, Randy Moss, so prolific during their time at Marshall.
Cole's got a really good arm. I was watching him throw before the game. 6'3", 209, obviously son of Chad. He's got the pedigree. He throws it well. Not mobile, so it won't even be like Stone Earl. He's out here to get some reps throwing the football against what looks to be still the starting unit for Ohio State in the secondary.
His father, Chad Pennington, coaching high school football, started a program from scratch. That ball thrown up in the air. Dangerous, and a flag on the play. Kenyatta Jackson giving credit. In 1997, Chad Pennington and Randy Moss led Marshall in the first year of Division 1A football. Moss caught 26 touchdowns, and at the time, a NCAA 1A record, and the duo led Marshall to its first bowl game win ever.
Man, they were so good. That was a great year of college football. Great year.
Nobody like Randy Moss.
No. And you know, Gus, I had the absolute pleasure and fortune of working with Randy for a couple of years when he first started broadcasting. And I was back hosting that NFL kickoff show in Los Angeles on Sundays. And you talk about a delightful person and a caring person.
He's so much fun.
Oh, Randy was one of the best people I have ever been around.
Great smile. First and 10 at the 35. Tywone Malone Jr. with the tackle.
You'll love this. I was hosting that show, and I was a brand new host. I didn't really know what I was doing, to be quite honest with you. I'm sitting there with Brian Urlacher and Randy Moss and Donovan McNabb, and so I'm like nervous, right? I'm like, and Randy looks at me before our first show, and he goes, "Hey, Joe," and he shows me his hands, and they're sweating, and he goes, "I'm nervous," and I was like, "Wait, you're nervous? I'm nervous."
Randy Moss.
It's so good.
Brian Urlacher. Donovan McNabb. That's a big-time room. Mitchell Melton with the tackle. Brings up 3rd down and long.
Young pass rushers for Ohio State. Getting a little bit of a chance here. A little run here in the 4th quarter against a guy they know is just going to be sitting in the pocket.
2nd down and 12 at the 33. Correction, 3rd down and 12 at the 33. Here's the run. And a tackle made at the 40-yard line. Mitchell Melton, gain of 8.
We'll see. They're going to keep the offense on the field or run the punt team on the field here.
Looks like they're going to keep Theo out there.
Or he's going to just let the play clock dwindle down. It looks like he's standing by the official there. Charles Huff. A similar style game to their game against Virginia Tech. They were a little bit closer in the 3rd quarter, but they had played really hard for about 2.5 quarters. And then in the middle of the 3rd, you saw the lack of depth that Marshall had as compared to Virginia Tech, and you're certainly seeing that here today as the Buckeyes start to pull away here into the 4th quarter.
And we'll take a timeout. 49-14, our score. 4th and 4 coming up for Marshall. Quarter, Ohio State with a 49-14 lead over Marshall. Thundering Herd ready to punt it away. Ennis the deep man. This one kicked toward the sideline. They're caught at the 12. Speed to burn on this field with Ohio State.
Look at the miles per hour that these guys are touching. You know, when we were talking with the staff, you saw about 22 right there. Quinn Sean gets up there, hits 21, 22, 23 on that long run. Jeremiah Smith doesn't even need it, but you can tell right out of the burst, you can hit 22 right there. Then he just throttles it down a little bit. You know, when talking, I talked with Coach Mick Moriarty, their strength coach. He thought that they've had fast guys here. That's obvious, right? They've had really fast players. But as a group, he felt like this group collectively is the fastest group that they've had at Ohio State. And I think we've seen some of that here today.
Devin Brown comes in at quarterback now for the Buckeyes. The backup. Kyle McCord's backup last year. So Brown had a chance to start in the bowl game at the end of the year. With a successful outing, not as successful as he would have liked. However, Devin Brown, 10 career games, 6 of them last year, started the Cotton Bowl. After Kyle McCord transferred to Syracuse, Kyle McCord off to a great start at Syracuse. There's the throw outside, out wide. And it's Brandon Ennis.
Devin Brown's pass is complete.
Rough one for Hughes last night. Stanford going up on the road, getting that win, and the classic ACC battle of Stanford and Syracuse.
Stanford, new member of the ACC after the Pac-12. Saw teams leave the conference. Pac-12 still alive, though. They're getting ready to retool with Oregon State and Washington State leading the way. James Peoples on the run.
James Peoples on the carry.
I almost said something I probably shouldn't have.
What were you going to say?
Well, I was just like, they're expanding. It's going to be like generic. It's like generic medication. So this is what we've got going on around college football. Illinois, huge win. They're 4-0, so watch out for Illinois in the Big Ten. Michigan, Alex Orji named the starting quarterback for today's game against USC. Late news, Colston Loveland, their All-American tight end. He's not playing in that game this afternoon for the Wolverines.
be one to see. Alex Orji has been challenged throwing the ball for Michigan.
I mean, if I were there, I'd just run it 55 times.
And that may be what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley and USC, they beat LSU. Big win. They're looking good. Changed their defensive coordinator.
Yep.
Playing better on defense.
Danton Lynn has been terrific. Danton Lynn's one of the bright young minds in college football. He has completely retooled the USC defense, and they are a serious threat in this conference.
Our side throw incomplete. Coach Lynn coached for guess who last year? Chip Kelly at UCLA. Then made the transfer over to South Central and the Trojans. So 4th down and 3, Ohio State will send it off with 9:06 to go here in the 4th.
4th down and 3 for the Buckeyes. In to find is Joe McGuire. Back to receive is Elijah Metcalf.
Attendance today here at the Shoe, 103,871. The record crowd, 110,045 versus Michigan in 2016. Number 2 Ohio State beat number 3 Michigan that day, 30-27 in overtime. 8:58 to play. 4th quarter. Back to Sebus. Right at Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, Jenny Taft with you. Week 4 of the college football season. Things will start to get a little bit more interesting for Ohio State next week. They'll take on Michigan State. Michigan State improved with the first-year head coach. They're taking on Boston College today.
Yeah, I like Jonathan Smith a lot. Comes over from Oregon State. That's a team that will get better, no doubt. Week in and week out, present a test to some of these upper-tier teams in the Big Ten.
2nd down and 5 in the 31. Got to be impressed, though, with what Indiana's doing so far, folks. They're scoring some points down in Bloomington. That one could lobbed up, and whistle had blown. Flag on the play.
Offside. Defense number 98. 5-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
Let's go downstairs to Jenny.
Well, we've been chatting about the culture at Marshall throughout this game. And look, we knew it was going to be a big challenge, but there were a couple guys that were actually from the Columbus area, and this meant a lot to him. One of those guys was guard Jalen Slappy, one of 4 from Columbus. And we had a great story, a great conversation this week where he told me the only reason he is playing college football is because of Coach Huff. He said in high school, I didn't have the good grades. I really doubted if I could play at this level. Coach Huff stayed on him. He said, you are good enough. We need you here at Marshall. It speaks to the culture, his commitment to the guys, and really they have been playing hard. They're doing their best today, Gus.
They certainly are. What a great effort by Coach Huff's team. Here's a handoff. They'll run it as Ethan Payne. Some great yards. Had a chance to text with James Franklin, the head coach at Penn State last night. Coach Huff coached for James Franklin. I said, what do you think about Coach Huff? He said, hey, in the text, great guy, very charismatic. Was with me multiple times. Maryland, Vandy, Penn State. Great recruiter, great energy, fun guy to work with and play for. Was an incredible running backs coach and special teams coordinator. You'll like him a lot. And we do. Thank you, Coach Franklin.
We need more men like Charles Huff in college football. Unfortunately, with what's gone on in college football, we're losing people to the NFL. And we need more guys like him. You know, when we talked to him, he talked about building a program, connection with his young men. You know, that connection is so important. Marshall has reached the bowl in 7 consecutive seasons. At the Group of 5 level, that's just incredibly difficult to do. I touched way earlier in the broadcast on those 2 Power 5 wins at a top 10 Notre Dame a couple of years ago, 26-21. They beat Virginia Tech a year ago. And, you know, when I asked him about, hey, what allows you to have this type of success at the Group of 5 level, he says, well, it's difficult. You have to rebuild the majority of your roster almost every year because of what goes on with NIL at bigger schools and kind of poaching talent and so on and so forth. But Gus, he talked about the connectivity, and I love that story that Jenny said and told us about Jalen Slappy, or even a guy like Jaden Yates, number 30, a linebacker. These guys that coach sees something in them and then leans in and pulls more out of that player than what that player thought that they had. And that's the type of guys that we need in this sport.
Leaders of men. 2nd down and 13 at the 49 for Marshall. They clock all the way down. No flag on the play. They get it off. They say in time. Moses Gray Jr. running the football, number 22 for Marshall.
There's Jaden Yates, I was speaking of earlier. He's a Columbus kid as well. His dad, Max, went to Marshall. Max was a beast. Jaden is that. He's got that in him as well.
3rd down and 9 at the 47. And Marshall stays on the ground. Not enough for 1st down. As Moses Gray runs and picks up 4. Jenny?
Well, you mentioned Max. Yates, obviously so proud of his son, Jaden. They were here. Michelle, mom was here. Aunt, uncle, sister. Now, Jaden made a joke to me this week that he told mom, I cannot get you guys as many tickets as you need. But it was a big deal to have him back in Columbus. And it goes back to that culture, right? They're so proud of what their son is doing at Marshall. Max as well. He said, I just want him to play his own game. And he admitted his football IQ much better than Max's.
And folks, what you're seeing right now is how great of a journalist and reporter Jenny Taft is. Usually the sideline reporter doesn't get on a lot, but you need the sideline reporter when things get out of hand. And Jenny has so many stories. She's just emptying the bucket right now for us. Thank you very much, JT. 4th down and 5.
There's no one close in the business. All due respect to anybody else out there. I hear about, oh, this person's the best. No. Jenny's the best in the business.
You guys, you're going to make me get all emotional down here. It's the best part, right?
No, don't get emotional, Jenny. Just keep giving us stories for the next 4 minutes and 53 seconds. Then you can get emotional.
I know.
After.
Yeah, I have no tears. I'm too hot.
We're emptying our bucket out here, too.
Are you hydrated, Jenny?
Right.
No, I'm not hydrated. I'm wearing all black. What was I thinking? This is such a horrible choice.
Milk was a bad choice.
But can we just be honest that I know it's a blowout. I know the number speaks for itself, but I love the storytelling. And I love that these Marshall guys came to play.
Yes, they did.
We have so much to be excited about when it comes to the Buckeyes. I love being around these players. Sometimes I can't believe they're college athletes, how impressive they are.
100% right. This one pooched. And into the end zone for touchback. So Ohio State, they'll get down to business starting next week when the Buckeyes travel to East Lansing to take on the Michigan State Spartans, followed by a game at Iowa. But the next 5 games will provide some hurdles that Brutus and the boys will have to navigate, including 3 consecutive games versus ranked opponents and 2 of them on the road versus Oregon and Penn State.
We'll learn about these Buckeyes. I thought it looked pretty sloppy in the first quarter, to be honest. And then there are elements of this team that is just like, geez, it's like so good, right? So little of everything.
I do know about this team this year. Don't bet against the Bucks.
Yeah.
Don't bet against the Bucks. They're ironing some things out. Coach Day, so positive yesterday, so focused, also relaxed. Still plays tennis. Get his workout in. Nice sweat. RJ, his son, starting quarterback for the 2nd straight year in his high school team.
He got a big win last night.
As a matter of fact, he got an offer from Marshall already.
And Ryan had high praise for Charles Huff.
I think Michigan wants to offer him too. That's what I heard. Thinking about Wolverines. They need a quarterback.
Something tells
Let me ask you this question, Joel. How do you win the national championship and come back the next year with a freshman as the starting, a walk-on as the starting quarterback at Michigan?
Very carefully. You know, that's a tough question. I think a lot of people are asking that question. I think even if you ask Sharon Moore at Michigan, they would say, yeah, you know, we dropped the ball. I'm surprised that they don't have a different option. Part of that is the fact that they felt like Alex Orji was going to be something in the passing game that he hasn't been or materialized to be, but maybe that changes as he starts. Gus, I don't have a great answer.
That's why I like Ohio State, Joe, because philosophers have defined integrity as a virtuous honesty and truthfulness, along with a courageous recognition of realities. Ohio State, very, very courageous in looking at reality, knowing they have to invest in their players, they have to invest in the program, just like they would in the science department or the liberal arts department or the medical department.
Yeah, I bristle a little bit, and I know Coach Day bristles a little bit when this narrative out there is like, oh, they just paid a lot of money for this roster. No. They developed great players and retained them through the legal means of NIL. Almost all of their NIL budget was spent on players that were existing in the program. Key returners like Travion Henderson, Emeka Ibuka, Tyleik Williams, JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer, among many others, Denzel Burke. They could have gone, but Ohio State invested in them and made it worthwhile for them to stay. And then you get some of the additions. Will Howard out of the portal, Quinshon Judkins, Caleb Downs, Jeremiah Smith from the recruiting shell, and Chip Kelly. They only took 7 transfers, Gus. Like, they didn't go and like, oh, we went out and bought a roster. That's not the case. That is a false narrative. I think it's perpetuated by those that don't understand.
$22 million, right?
No, that is not the right number. That's the type of number that's going to be shared after we get done with the Alston case here in a few weeks, and then the rev share will kick in next year on television revenue that then the schools and programs can share with the players. Right now, it's just NIL, and there's been numbers floated around about what Ohio State spent on their players and what they didn't spend. I can tell you for 100% fact, the number that they spent out of their collective is much lower than has been reported. What ends up happening is that these players, because this is a major market and one of, if not the biggest brands in college football, their athletes make a lot more outside of the collective because of the opportunities that they have being Buckeyes right here in Columbus. So when you start saying, like, well, what do they make in NIL? Well, you know, it's a different discussion.
Now, let me just read a quote. According to Ross Bjork, the athletic director, Ohio State spent $20 million on its team's roster. So that's a big number, and that came from the man that runs the athletic department. 49-14, 2 minutes to play in the fourth. A lot to talk about here in week 4 of the college football season. The games on tap tonight. Colorado will be interesting to watch the Buffs against Baylor, Utah, Oklahoma State, Utah first year, the Big 12. You know, Mike Gundy always has a good team. He's a tremendous coach.
Both of those guys, Kyle and Mike Gundy. Kyle Whittingham, Mike Gundy.
Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State, Kyle Whittingham at Utah. So what's your takeaway from this game, partner?
So I came in thinking that this defense was going to be just like stifling and elite. And to be honest, they weren't. There were some things that they're going to need to correct. Now, I didn't know what the offensive line and run game was going to look like. And that I come out of this game, I'm like, hey, Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson in that run game, that is a problem for opposing teams. Like, Gus, capital problem.
Capital problem. But the question is, can this Ohio State offensive line, when it counts against some killers, move people?
Yeah, in what they would call a matchup game, you know, and that's the games that they're going to be measured against, you know, if they ever get a shot at Texas, or when they play Oregon, or when they play, you know, potentially in the Big Ten championship game, any number of these teams from the Big Ten, whether it's a rematch with Oregon or a USC team or whomever it is. And then in the playoff, and they're inevitably going to have to play, you know, Texas, Gus, who we've seen, or Alabama, who we've seen,
or Georgia.
Yeah, and so that's what they're going to be ultimately measured against. But I can tell you that there were some steps on the offensive side. Offensively, this team has more pitches than they've had in previous years. Previous years, they could throw the ball with anybody as elite as anybody. But it's like, okay, that's your fastball. You know, what's your secondary pitch? And to be honest, they didn't have it the last couple of years. Well, now they're like Justin Verlander up there. They got,
that's a lot,
3-4 pitches, you know, to throw at you.
Marshall taking a knee, understanding they will live to fight another day. But what a tremendous effort by the Thundering Herd. You knew they were outmanned, outgunned, came in here, gave them their best. Coach Huff should be proud. Coach Day, his team, winning convincingly, however, things to work on. Kickoffs.
Kickoffs. Can you believe he kicked 3 out of bounds?
3 out of bounds.
Oh my goodness.
Let's go downstairs to Jenny with Coach Day.
Gus, thank you. Well, Coach, I know that you won big in this one, but still, I know at half there were still moments you wanted to focus on. What were your big takeaways from the performance today?
Yeah, sort of a mixed bag. I thought the offense was really explosive today, and the defense got some good stops in there, but we were just a little sloppy in certain areas, so we'll take a look at the film and get them fixed. Speaking
of that offense that was so explosive, so balanced, what should we expect to see from your offense with Chip Kelly in charge this season? What should we expect?
I balance, you know, and more of the same. You know, we're still trying to find our identity there, but I think for the most part, I really think those guys are playing hard. I think the offensive line played hard. I thought the running backs played hard. I thought Will played well, made good decisions. I thought the receivers did a great job of, you know, running after the catch in this game and on the perimeter blocking. So you can see when the balance is going well that we can be explosive. So, again, just still finding our identity, but it's a good start.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, we got it, Jenny. Thanks.
Thank you, Jen. The final score here in Columbus, Ohio State 49, Marshall 14. Bucks remain undefeated. We will have more from Ohio Stadium with Rob and the boys after this break.